everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. Here we go. The video game pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Alex Navarro, big
Indeed.
piles.
Like stacks and stacks of tapes building up all around you. It's just, it's media everywhere, my friends. Too many
gosh.
games.
Media everywhere, opinions everywhere. Brad Shoemaker.
Yep. I started to quote a song lyric that I think I won't, actually.
Okay.
No, give it to me. I want to hear
Everything.
it.
Game's so tall that somebody got to climb it. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Well, you've got a couple hours, so if you want to workshop it a little bit between now and the end, feel free.
Brad, what are you wearing?
It is a Nicki Minaj line from a Kanye song, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
like,
you actually, now I understand.
So that's why I was reluctant. What am I wearing?
What are you wearing?
My shirt?
What is that?
It's the Giant Bombcast 500th anniversry episode.
Don't think I've ever seen that shirt.
I actually had no idea we even did one.
Yeah.
That was a thing that the company made?
Yeah.
Did we sell those?
Uh-huh. It's got a giant, luchador, balloon animal on the back. Really?
Oh, wow. Okay. Nope.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it sure does.
You know what? We made a lot of T-shirts when we were at Giant Bomb. I don't remember them all.
Did you see the balloon animal? I couldn't see what I was...
I did,
we saw
yes,
it, yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Yes. Wow, well, congratulations to Giant Bomb on their 500th episode.
It's like 500th asterisk.
Sure, give or take.
I forget exactly how it went, but the numbering was a bit indeterminate, let's say. By the time we got there, it was kind of a ballpark. Like, we think this is the 500th one, roughly.
Was it because of the arrow pointing down stuff before Giant Bomb?
That was part of it, and there was just a ton of stuff in that feed that maybe did or did not qualify as a mainline episode. For a long time, I think just everything went into that feed, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, here's a random interview we did with somebody that's going in this feed. You know what I mean? Like, it was.
But by the time we get to 500, you can give or take. Okay, there's a percentage error. There's a tolerance error.
Yep. It's a red T-shirt. How many of those do you have?
That I would wear? Not a lot. No.
Not an enormous number.
Red's
not
3 or 4. Necessarily my color. It doesn't work well with my whole thing.
Your Alex, whole color blindness thing.
Yeah. I try to keep the reds out of there. Alex, you said that you had an anecdote.
I like to make a lot of bold, heady claims on this podcast. Say things like, hey, I'm done playing this game. Hey, I'm done with this. This is done in my life.
Okay.
Sometimes reality comes around and hoists me my own petard when I say things like that. So last week on this podcast, you may remember I seemingly tied off the loop on Retro Rewind, the video store simulator game that I was a little obsessed with for about a month there. Mm-hmm. I did indeed complete all the currently available content for it. And then as soon as I finished, I was like, you know what? I just kind of want to see what is the mod scene currently doing with the game and all of that, because I hadn't checked in a week or two. Someone made a tool. The thing I had said all along that I wanted, which is just a tool that you can very easily use to put your own movies into the game if you want to. And by that, I don't mean it did not export my Plex library, but it is a very simple drag and drop, put whatever images you want and title them whatever you want tool set made by, and I want to give the proper credit where credit is due here, by over on Nexus Mods, Magic Master Blaster.
Okay.
I assume is their Christian name.
Yes.
They have made the Retro Rewind Movie Workshop, which, as I said, is a pretty easy tool set to make your own movie library in that game. And let me tell you, it's got me fucked up.
Oh, yeah?
It's got me fucked up.
Are you downloading artwork and making any kind of particular curated list?
Yeah, it's basically the Alex Navarro collection, more or less. You know, it is the movies I own, the movies I like, the movies that have had some impact in my life over the years. There is a very real possibility that before I ever get around to quote unquote completing this, I will abandon it wholesale. And it's just a thing that I'm going to be obsessed with for a week or two, and then something will get in the way, and then I'll forget all about it. I don't know.
Yes.
But right now, I have spent some evenings just dragging some images and making custom movies and all of that. And it works really seamlessly. You do kind of need to start with a new save if you're going to do this. But nonetheless, it seems like the kind of thing that I could spend some time doing between now and whenever they put out that video game update for that game.
Now, does it manifest in the game as the options for buying movies change to your movies, or do you have a little more? Okay, so when an order comes in, it's now the movies you've put into the database, basically?
The way this particular tool works is that it basically erases all the video game or the movie database that is already there. Mm-hmm. So the only things it is pulling from are the ones you have made some kind of custom adjustment to.
I see, which is why you might need to start from a new save.
Yeah, that's why it's ideal. Like, I went and loaded my old save in it, and a couple of those tapes showed up, but a whole lot of them didn't, and I understand why, because they had not been labeled as such.
Oh, there's a lot of mods for this.
So the floodgates are open now. Since this tool has come out, people are making their own collections pretty regularly, it seems like.
There's a lot of, and I think a lot of these are for the in-store TVs probably, not just the on-shelf boxes, but there's 80s and 90s movie trailers, Cartoon Network 90s and 2000s commercials.
Oh, those they've been doing since the beginning, because that's a really easy just replace a video in the log files.
1990 MTV late night music videos with commercials.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
New candies and snacks. Somebody has gone in here and put real branded movie theater candy in this.
There's also a soda one too.
Man, this is
bad. This is people have really gravitated towards this idea of making this the video rental place of their youth.
Yes, or the one they have always imagined in one way or another. A thing that maybe never actually existed, but the thing they wanted all along, you know?
This team touched some kind of cosmic nerve. They
pulled a string in my brain that has... I always knew was there. I mean, I'm a physical media guy, and I think the specificity of this one is that they have honed in on the fact that even though videotape is a shitty format... It's the one everyone remembers the best because it is the most clacky and tactile and big, bulky thing to represent the movie you like.
And it was I started to make a claim that maybe this might be dubious. It was probably the bulk of video rental.
Yeah, I would
the era, absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
Comparatively DVDs, to how long DVD was big and rental was also big. That was probably a pretty short time by comparison.
The very last VHS commercial tape, I looked this up, came out in 2006. It is David Cronenberg's A History of Violence, which came out in 2005.
Okay.
So obviously there were DVDs coming out in from late 90s up to there, but they were still making videotapes up to that point.
I think I would add, Brad, to your assessment here that it's probably the VHS in store is probably the most prolific, right? Because DVDs and Blu-rays were, by that point, you could get them by mail also.
Right. Or you were going and buying them at Best Buy. You weren't necessarily going and renting them.
I got to tell you, I'm looking at a screenshot of this snack mod, and it is a rack of Fritos and Funyuns right in front of a Full Metal Jacket standee.
Yep.
There is something very potent about all of this.
That's great.
I need to spend some more time really picking apart what this is doing to me nostalgically and figure out if this is a problem or not. But for right now, I'm enjoying myself just making my little library.
Sure. But there is a chance that if this were the what is the place from Ready Player One, the Oasis, that you might just live here forever. If you could have in the virtualized metaverse.
Shut your goddamn mouth, bringing the fucking Ready Player One into this. How fucking dare you?
Don't
sully my correct nostalgia with whatever that bullshit is, okay? Obviously, I'm in the right here.
Yeah, you don't want Grimlock coming in to go rent Who's Harry Crumb from your store.
If Grimlock wanted Who's Harry Crumb, I could provide, okay?
That's a lot of fun. I'm glad that fever won't break anytime soon.
If I complete it, I might put it up on Nexus Mods.
Great.
I'm sitting here thinking now about what we're talking about right now and some of the games we're about to discuss. And there's a real through line there.
Did I design it this way? Who can say?
A real through line of throwbacks.
Specifically throwbacks that are maybe more about the way someone might imagine an era versus how it really is.
Not a pure documentarian point of view.
No.
Let me share. Okay, I'm gonna break the continuity here, and
That's fine.
It was a good segue, but this just happened to me right before we were recording. my doorbell rang, and I'm going to share this with you, and I would like to get your opinions on it and those of the audience. Okay. Doorbell rang. I was shoving a sandwich in my face, so I was swallowing quickly, and I looked out the window.
Got it.
Covered in mayonnaise. And it's a young adult, and he rings the doorbell and then walks a few steps down the steps and is waiting there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe don't want to sit and get captured by everybody's Ring camera or whatever it is.
I think that's a thing they tell people to do now, just in case whoever opens the door is threatening.
Oh, okay. All right. This guy in short sleeves, shorts, and it's like, hey. I'm like, hi, how you doing? What do you want? The person didn't respond with anything.
Okay, confusing.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, I do work for, he had this real, like, manner of speaking. I was like, I do work for your neighbor. You got good neighbors. I was like, oh.
Are you just going around telling everyone that? What is this?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And now, granted, he's like young.
Are we talking like early 20s. Teenager or 20s? Yeah, okay, 20s.
Or that's what I thought. He's like, yeah, your neighbor Jane, real nice person. I was like, okay.
Shame if something happened to her.
And so, yeah, right. And he's like, do you know her? And now in my head, I'm like, okay, something's happened. I don't know who Jane is, first of all. And I'm like, something's happened. Somebody's dead.
This is how a horror movie starts.
Yeah, right. And he's got a vibe. I'm telling you, this guy's got a vibe. And I'm like, something happened. Like a dog got out, maybe. Maybe he was doing work and a dog got out. And haven't seen a dog. I don't know. Something really weird has happened. My wife starts coming down the steps too because she heard the doorbell and she's not sure if I'm around or not. And so so I point. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe my wife knows them. Like, help me, wife, coming down the steps.
For the love of God.
She comes to the door for a hot second and is like, yeah, no. Oh, I thought you were pointing to the neighbor. So you don't know them? I was like, I don't know. I was pointing to my wife. She's here too. I was like, hi, this gentleman does work for the neighbor. And I was like, what? Why are you here? Eventually. And he's like, there are a lot of bugs. Ants, wasps. I've been taking care of the bugs in your neighborhood.
This is some real, like, I'm the viper, I'm here to vipe the windows shit. Like, what is this?
It really is. Yeah, he's like, some of these ants, these wasps, spiders, I've been taking care of them for your neighbors around here. I was like, oh. And my wife immediately just was like, okay, and walks away from me, leaving me there at the door.
Perfect.
And he's like, how long you been in this house? I'm like, what the fuck? So I say, forever. And my wife from the other end is like, since the 70s, 1972. And he's like, oh, that's when I was born. And I was like, so I go to him like,
wait, that can't possibly be true.
I was like, weird, you don't look a day over 25. And he's like, really? What do you want?
I want this interaction to be over by proxy, and I wasn't even there. Like, I just want to hear.
What do you want? He's like,
I just want to hear that you closed the door at this point.
So I think my wife was like, "Why aren't you closing the door at this point?" But I'm like, was fascinated by what is happening here.
I can see it.
And I was like, "Do you? I can take care of your ants."
Okay, I assume that's where this was going.
And I'm like, we're like good. I was like, hey, I'm trying to get this over. Now that I know he's trying to sell me on like extermination stuff, I was like, okay, great. Do you have a card? And he's like, starts to walk up. He's like, no, but I have this, and pulls a pamphlet out of his back pocket. And he's like, this isn't my number, but it's a place you can go. Like, what the fuck is happening? And he walks up and he's got flip flops on, right? And I was walking up my steps. I look down. And he's like, yeah, I wear flip-flops. He goes, yeah, I wear flip-flops. My feet are fucked up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Did your home just get cased?
I don't know what's happening.
Is this a demon? Is this man a demon?
And he goes, even for something he said, even for a 19-year-old like me. And I was like, oh, he's like, but I was born in 1972. I was like, spiritual. What? It was like, just give me the thing. And I was like, okay, great. And I was like, then he goes, but if you go through them, you can't get the good rate. I can give you the good rate now. And I was like, it's okay. I will, we'll discuss later. It's okay. He's like, let me break it down for you.
Oh my God.
We
it's
use
still going.
granulated sand for the ants. We used pheromones for the spiders. And at some point, I'm like, I'm sorry, I actually do have to go. I've got things. He's like, okay, just you never know. It's just like, dude.
This was today?
This was like a half hour ago before we started recording.
See how one might be rattled after such an encounter.
Is this guy Willard for wasps? Is he just fucking like controlling the bugs?
So he walks away, and I shut the door, and I turn to my wife. I'm like, what the fuck? And she's like, what? She's like, I just tell everyone who comes to the door is like, I don't accept anybody that comes. I don't accept business that comes to the front door, right? I was like, no, seriously, what the fuck? Like, you're not freaked out? She's like, no, the guy was just trying to sell whatever. I was like,
he's just weird about it.
I was like, are kids just weird? He's like, what's going on? Am I weird?
Well, yes.
Are kids weird? She's like, no, he's just like, maybe like a weird dude. I don't know.
I'd say more than maybe.
Yeah. Weird. Have we forgotten how to like interact? I don't know. Is this one of those things where, is this one of those things where like, yes, we don't know how to interact anymore?
There have been weird guys throughout time in history. Like a guy who is this is not impossible in a previous era or anything like that. He's not unique in that regard. But that is a disconcerting experience to have. I think that is fair to say.
The opening salvo was the weirdest.
Yes.
Which was open the door. Again, okay, he's halfway down the steps. That's fine, but he's not leaving. He's just standing there waiting for me. Open the door. Like, hey, bro.
Your podcast did not just stop. That was us.
Until I was like, what's up? You know, like what, we have to move this forward.
This person might have had some kind of social thing, maybe just did not understand, you know, the greeting aspect of it. I don't know, but it's weird. I agree. It is an off-putting thing to have come to your front door.
Yes. And like and look, I'm okay with bugs, generally okay with the bugs. I definitely was a little like you, Brad, is like, we've had other people come to the door that have been like, you know, like, Hi, I'm here with Extermicare, and like we're doing work in your neighborhood and wondering if you'd be interested. We noticed you have some anthills, whatever. Be like, no, thank you. Usually I will say, do you have a card or something to end the conversation? Be like, I will call you. Thank you very much.
Don't call me.
Yeah, don't call me. This was a weird one.
This is weird. What happened to you is a little weird.
It's like he was wearing an Edgar suit.
Yeah, like, I could see it.
It was weird.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It takes all kinds.
Tales from the suburbs.
Yeah. Yes. Also the part where I handed me the thing that was like not necessarily his business card, but I guess he works for this business, but couldn't give me the good rate. Is a weird thing. No shirt that said the company he was on, no truck nearby, just doing work in the neighborhood. Everybody's got to make a buck.
What a thing.
I told him to get into video game reviews.
Yeah, more very lucrative.
Yes.
Or, sorry, not reviews, hot takes. Speaking of hot takes.
Even more lucrative.
Alex, you played a mixtape.
Yes, let's pretend that the bridging of the two segments happened earlier and that we did things in a different order.
Yeah. Wow. Whoa, speaking of nostalgia.
Yeah, let's rewind and go back.
Oh, okay.
By putting a pencil into your cassette tape, which is the thing that definitely kids always did.
I hate that I know that. Like, I hate that I started to make a joke about rewinding a tape wrong by sticking a pencil in. Like, I shouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't, for a game that I haven't played and don't intend to play, I shouldn't know something that specific about it.
I only put the pencil in when the tape got fucked up. And, yeah.
But you never rewound a tape that way.
No,
absolutely not.
It's when it's despooled.
That's true. That was for if the tape came out and you need to wind it back in.
Yeah.
All right. Let me preface what I'm about to say about Mixtape with two things. One, I have not finished it, though I think I am nearly done with it. I've gotten to the part that is right before the big climactic party stuff that seems like.
Okay.
The other thing is that there's been a lot of discourse about this video game.
The discourse, it's back.
Both from people who are very easily dismissible, which is to say people who are whining about the various things that people whine about with regards to fucking woke video games or whatever else. And there's also a lot of people who are just like going at this game very much from the perspective of this is doing nostalgia wrong, which is to say, this is by design, by the own team's design. This is not a specific pointed nostalgia piece. It is not about the year 1990 whatever. Mm-hmm. It is about a broad spectrum of music and cultural touchstones from, let's just call it, the mid-'80s through the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of people are coming at it as like, oh, this is anachronistic and muddled and not actually 1999 or whatever. But there's also people who are like, this story has been done many, many times, and like that's maybe more valid.
And yes, this is not a unique coming-of-age story by any stretch. The only thing that's kind of unique about it is the specificity of what the main character, Stacy, wants, which is to say, her dream, and the reason every chapter in the game is tied to a specific song, is that she wants to become a music supervisor more than anything else in the world.
Okay.
Do you know what a music supervisor is?
Like for a movie, or like in terms of?
Yes. I mean, that is the easiest one to point to, but there have been music supervisors that worked for video game companies, that have worked for television studios, a variety of other media various things. But that's what a music supervisor is a person who both curates and designs a soundtrack of a thing, but also is well-versed in the business dealings and vagaries of contract work that go along with licensing music. Okay. That's the part this game glides completely over, which I understand. That is not sexy. There's nothing fun or gauzy to think about with that. It is pure fucking contract work, which is...
It sounds like somebody who may have worked for a studio that was doing a lot of music contracts, let's say harmonics.
Yes. Or, okay, let me back this up a second. One of the criticisms I've seen levied at this game is, and especially from people who are ostensibly from the generation that would remember all this stuff and know this music, is they don't know who this game is for. Let me tell you right now, it is for me. And I don't mean that in I love this game more than anything else in the world. I actually don't. I think it's got some qualities to it that I like, but it is not, I am not in love with it or anything. But they are targeting someone like me, which is to say, I also had that dream at one point in my life. I loved making mixtapes. I loved making mixed CDs. I loved making mixes of any fucking kind. And I had it in my head that I would be great at creating sound vibes for anything that I set my mind to. Then I learned what kind of work actually went into that, especially when I went to go work at Harmonix and realized, I am woefully underqualified for this kind of thing. Everyone has the dream of being the vibes person and never the legal person,
Sure.
So they are targeting it at a person who cares about music in the way that this main character ostensibly does, which is to say she doesn't really like experiencing the world or anything around her without a musical accompaniment. It is very much a comfort thing for her, and also extremely the thing she wants to do with her life. It sounds ridiculous on its face, because the premise of the game is that she is ditching out on a road trip with two of her friends who are graduating high school with her to fly to New York to go meet this famed music supervisor that she is basically stalking, more or less. Ridiculous on its face, but the game's also not really about that. It's more about the friendship between her and her two friends, and kind of the stress around her wanting to ditch out, them kind of going off in other directions, and, kind of just coming to a place of I assume, eventually just getting over whatever the stress there is.
If I'm reading you correctly, and maybe some of the I am not fully versed in the discourse, but basically what the game was presenting, Alex, is it a end of summer or end of school coming of age story?
Totally, 100%.
Yeah, okay, that's what it seemed pitched as.
Yeah, it is people about to go off to college. This one girl has this one very specific dream, but your other two friends are basically, amalgamations of dirtbags of the era. Like the Slater, I think, is the guy, and he's like a perfect fucking bad mustache, wearing a fucking knit cap, peg jeans, skateboarding kind of dude, like a burnout, but like a agreeable burnout. And your other friend, Cassandra, I believe, is just, kind of like the slightly more uptight, but only because she was raised that way, wanting to rebel, wanting to kind of do the kind of dirtbag shit you're up to, mostly to kind of throw it in her dad's face kind of person.
But the idea, and again, this maybe just goes to what you said, Brad, about this is an idea. This is some well-worn territory here.
Yeah.
Of the idea of looking back as an adult now, knowing that life will never be the same after high school, right? Like that you then have. This is a special time. I was going to use the word magical. There's some dark magic that can happen in high school too. It is not always magical, but this is a time before you're kind of thrust out into a different world. And looking back in hindsight, you realize that this is a pivotal time for a lot of people.
100%. So like, there's some really corny or overly earnest shit in this game, but I think seeing people get really mad at it is just sort of like confusing to me because, yeah, it's not amazing. Like the people who have described this game as lightly interactive are correct. Like there's a lot of little vignettes that happen. Mostly you are exploring environments, poking at things, getting like history, from touching things. Mm-hmm. Then there will be some sequence where it's like, we're all skating down a hill, like a big ass hill while a song is playing. And hey, I did that. Like shooting hills was one of my favorite things to do as a teenager of that era.
Probably with headphones in.
But, I tried not to because I didn't need to hear if there was a car or someone was calling for a car. But yes, yes.
Wow, good for Alex of that age.
But like, it gets kind of dreamy in places. Like there's a sequence where you in a younger period are like running through an open field. And then it kind of turns into Journey for a second. Like it gets very sweeping. The camera kind of pulls out, and you and your friends are literally like floating through the air in this segment, which is, the idea of you're imagining it like you would sort of thought about it at the time. Like you are kind of drifting through this field, but let's go all the way with it and make it feel a little magical,
I think I talked about this. Mary was talking about this game. I was on the Fire Escape podcast recently, and she said, it is maybe somebody's like wishy-washy memory of that time.
Totally.
And I think she said something like, it's an amazing town because it's always downhill. No matter where you're going.
Nobody climbs anything. You are always rolling down.
Which just made me laugh. Just like the next thing, it's like your house is uphill from the bar. You get to the bar and suddenly your house is now downhill from the bar. You're always going downhill.
But so the big thing is that like, having played Lost Records, a game I actually dislike, that kind of tries to tug at some of these same heartstrings, I don't dislike this game in nearly the same way. Like, Lost Records felt like, okay, yes, there probably is some real, like, earnest girlhood stuff in here, but all the stuff around the edges of, like, what teen friendship of this 90s era was felt very... like saccharine to the point of just not even really having like a lot of emotional heft behind it.
Their supernatural stuff was maybe more jarring
and just not that great. Like here, there's no real supernatural stuff. It's just imagination more than anything else. But there are some beats in here that are like almost identical to Lost Record. Like they find an old house in the woods and you sort of post it up as like your drinking spot. And that's why I actually kind of like this better, because they don't try and like turn it into this very sort of like, like imagined like goody version of it. Like it's just, no, we found this abandoned house. This is where we're going to drink and smoke weed. That's it. There's nothing more heady or fucking, serious than that. It's just, no, this is where we're going to go fuck around.
So the way this was described to me as well was you basically are, and is this how it works? My understanding is you're kind of looking at items and then remembering them, right?
Yes.
Like remembering the and maybe.
And each chapter is like a song, or sometimes it's one or two songs. Like there are bits where there's like, it's not even a full chapter, but there's like a reference to a specific. Like one of the first things that happens is she's remembering a guy who, I don't know if she had an actual relationship with him or if it was just like a quick infatuation, but someone who also liked making mixtapes. And he opened the mixtape with a 10-minute Alice Coltrane song, and it's her being like, this is a terrible way to express your feelings to someone through music, because it's just like, and it's not because the Alice Coltrane song is bad, it's a 10-minute fucking proggy jazz number. Like, it's not the same thing as a lot of this other music.
And so the character does commentate in-game on the music playing, right? At the time, occasionally, which is
it specifically sets it up. Like, there's in the, like... at times she is being like, this is why this song matters into this particular memory.
Right. Which is, again, I think probably another, or absolutely the reason they have said that you cannot turn this off for streamer mode or substitute music in
The video going around of someone muting the music audio while they're doing the Wayne's World headbanging in the car sequence is very funny. I'm going to grant that. But I agree, the game is completely tied up in the music in such a way that I feel like a streamer mode would just wreck the whole thing.
Yeah. So it does seem like we have danced around in these circles before, similar games. A lot of Don't Nod stuff has been here. A lot of, a lot of other games have been here. And Alex, so I trust you that you have been exposed to this stuff before. What do you think is setting some people off, as you guys say, that in certain circles, maybe even more than some of these other games?
I mean, it was 100% the review scores. It was the embargo lifting and it being like exclusively 9s and 10s.
Is it the like you gave Halo an 8 and you gave Mixtape a 9
that's
sort
some
of thing?
It. That's some of it, but it's also the like seeming uniformity of the scores that leads to a bunch of insane conspiratorial thinking. That does not exist. Like, it is just whatever. I don't know how much I even really want us to go down this road, but like it really is just the modern manifestation of the people going nuts about review scores 20 plus years ago. Now that social media has allowed those people to congregate and like amplify their ire at numbers on video game reviews in a way that is coordinated and directed rather than aimless, rather than reviewers just getting the random email here and there from somebody being shitty about the review score. It is now allowed people to triangulate and like direct the rage in like a fucking concentrated stream.
But
it's really fucking stupid, and I don't know how much we should even give time to it.
I'm not going to. Like, I don't think any of that stuff is really worth thinking about that hard, because people who are calling this an industry plant literally don't even know what words they're saying. Like, you are just saying something you heard somewhere else, and you have no idea what that actually means.
It is. I mean, I should not be surprised that there is a whole like deranged lexicon that goes along with this stuff. But reading some of these posts is just like. But it's like they've got a handbook. It is literally like they have got a little glossary of terms that they are just mad libsing together when they go off about patronage networks and
boy. But what's the other criticisms? The ones that are you said kind of it's getting it from all sides.
Well, the other thing on it is that like I think it is a lot of people who grew up in this generation just not finding anything about it that feels that authentic to them. And I get that. Like the soundtrack is kind of a muddled mix of eras and genres. Some of the stuff, even some of the slightly more obscure stuff, is stuff I was definitely listening to as a kid. But this game completely avoids the actual social aspect around music of this era, which is to say, music was somewhat regimented by what social clique you were a part of. You know, especially in the early to mid 90s. Like the rap kids had their group, the skate, punk kids had their group. The jocks were listening to their fucking jock jams, the fucking, the redneck kids were all listening to their country music. It's not that nobody listened to anything outside those realms, but there was a bit of a social hierarchy around this stuff, and this game completely ignores all of that. And I don't necessarily blame it. That shit was fucking stupid. And this game is not trying to be 100% authentic about how it portrays this stuff. Again, it is a dreamy, imagined version of it that I think gets some things right, and in some cases, like rewinding your tape with a fucking pencil, it gets it wrong, but I understand why you think that's a minigame. Sure, okay.
I really feel like we're burying the lead here, which is that the director of this game is named Johnny Galvatron.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely freaking right, Brad. How did we get this long into it without somebody saying that?
And is the frontman of the band The Galvatrons. Man. And there are 2 Stan Bush songs in this game, both from the Transformers movie. That really should tell you what kind of mishmash of late Gen X nostalgia this is trying to be.
Late Gen X, early millennial. And
yeah, kind of, I guess. But I mean, it's like, well, whatever. The tracks list is pretty 80s heavy, right? I think.
It is. Like, there's like Joy Division, Devo, The Cure, Jesus, Mary Chain, Lush, all that stuff. But then there's also like Portishead, Silverchair, The Smashing Pumpkins, And then like there's like a Rainbow song on here, Like I mentioned that Alice Coltrane song. Like there's the fucking the Chi-Lites, who are like kind of like a soul doo-wop group are on there. Like it is a bit of a motley mix, but I don't mind it because the actual music is mostly good. So I don't really understand like why people are getting up in arms about like, well, it's not authentic to the 90s. It's like, dude, those records were available. You could buy them in stores, just not everyone did.
Yeah, so it sounds like, that's the criticisms about it conceptually, right? Like the parts about it that not necessarily the gameplay, the mechanics, what's in the game.
The gameplay is fine. Like it's acceptable. It is like similar to a lot of other lightly interactive story heavy games. Like what is there works well enough. It's not anything that exciting, you know, but it's also not a long game. Like I'm like 3 hours in and I think I'm almost done, you know, like it does not seem like it has a ton of extra stuff around the edges, and that's fine. Like I don't mind that either. I think what it's missing more than anything else is just like a little bit more, I don't know, just like emotional heft to it. Like it's not devoid of it. Like I think some of the friends interaction stuff is actually pretty enjoyable. I think the characters play off each other reasonably well. They all kind of talk like this, dude, you know, but they're from Northern California, so I get it. That makes I can't remember if anyone says hella, but they might as well. It's just it's all a little, you know, it's a confection, and I can enjoy it as that. It is just a little confection that I'm having a good enough time with. I do think the soundtrack is good. I'm not sure it's going to stick with me too much past the ending, but that's fine. And I think seeing it get devoured by the discourse this way is just perplexing to me more than anything else, because I don't necessarily agree with the 9 and 10 reviews, but I see how someone who was more nostalgic for specific things in this game might go that way.
Yeah,
I just don't.
That is 100% the explanation of the scores. It's like, it's really not hard to imagine. Even if you don't like the stuff in here personally, you can see how some people, and specifically the type of cohort that tends to dominate video game reviews, would. Right?
Yes,
but I get it. Like I don't think this game is for me. I'm not going to play it. Like it's just not really my thing. But I can imagine a world where, like, I don't know, the visuals are kind of just right, and maybe the story is reaching some kind of emotional beat, and then Plain Song comes on, and I'm like, okay, 10 of 10.
Yeah.
Like, because I fucking love that song. Probably more than I love the actual game or what is taking place in front of me, you know? Like that kind of, like the neurochemical shit that goes on when you hear something like that, like, can really color your perception. Whatever, I'm not trying to say people are being disingenuous about liking the actual game.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the kind of thing that can take it from, like, oh, this is a nice experience, to, oh my god, like, I am being flooded with emotions from my past right now, in a way that I'm, like, not shocked at the 9s and 10s, even if I don't think it's something that I would go for in the same way.
Not everyone, this is something I've come to terms with over the years. Not everyone cares about music in the way that I do. And I don't mean that in a, I care about it more and better than everyone else. I mean, I care probably just in a way that is outsized compared to how the average person enjoys music. And if the right song hits me at the right time, that is a potent thing for me. Like, that will trigger a lot of different emotional reactions to me in a way that, like, sometimes can feel very overwhelming. So, like, I get it. And there isn't anything on this soundtrack that does that for me, but I do like all this music. They've made a thing that I think is targeted at people like me, and it is impossible to make a thing that is targeted at people like me and describe what music does for people like that without sounding like a giant cornball. And this game kind of suffers from that occasionally, where it sounds like the main character is just a giant fucking cornball talking about this stuff. But that's the worst of it, is that it's kind of corny. That is literally the most pointed, criticizing thing I can say about it, is that, yeah, it's kind of corny.
And does it wear its anachronisms on its sleeve? Like, does it go out of its way to be like, yeah, I don't know, this is maybe not how it really was?
It just doesn't care that much.
It just doesn't care, okay.
It's not obsessed with accuracy. Like, she has a VHS player, but then, you know, there's talking about CDs, but then she has, like, a little record player also. There's cassette tapes everywhere. I mean, that aspect of it is the object fetishism for the younger players, I think. The people who are the kids now that are, like, starting to get a little more obsessed with the idea of physical media. I think that stuff is kind of a nod to them, and that's fine. Like, I think there needs to be something in there for them to latch onto. But you're right, it is anachronistic.
There's like early, I've watched some footage of this. Like, there's an early digital camera scene in here.
Yeah,
where you go around with. I mean, the early digital camera is very hot with youth right now.
So yeah, look, everybody needs to. Not everybody. People who get a little too hot and bothered about maybe the review score stuff or where things land need to find a bunch of people that they respect that play a lot of video games. Try to make a list of, let's say, 10 games that are the best games of any given period of a year or something. And you
put them on a mixtape.
You will soon realize the absurdity of trying to rank things by scores or numbers or by anything for what appeals to one person and appeals to another person. When you're suddenly, or let's say, watch a bunch of movies that have nothing to do with each other and try and make an ordered list and figure out where a documentary about a water park ranks up against Citizen Kane, like
no one would ever do that, Vinny.
These are just, sometimes things are like, yeah, this is a really good game and I liked it, and it's a short game and I just liked the vibes it was giving me more than this $1 billion game that was made that I know is your favorite game. But like, because I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but if Mixtape gets a 9.1 and Marathon gets a 9.0 and somebody then goes, are you saying it's better than Marathon, is not a solid argument to make. You know what I mean?
It also just doesn't matter. Like look, we all come from GameSpot. We are as responsible as anyone for proliferating the math as exact review score sort of mentality. But I think the fact that literally all of us have gotten away from it as we have gotten older and as editorial things have sort of evolved, maybe you should notice that and realize that the infinitesimal fucking score differences between things don't really matter that much. It's the opinion. It is the writing. It is the actual criticisms that are being put together that really give you the picture of what is going on there and whether this is a critic that you will end up agreeing with or not. The score is just an at-a-glance thing. Always has been.
I don't remember the timeline of this, but when you guys were doing previews and reviews for GameSpot, or when they were happening there, was it all before the at-a-glance summary stuff of I know you could see the score, but the hey, the good, the bad, or did that come around?
That came later.
Tenure?
I can't remember exactly when, but
that was 2006, I think, is when we started implementing those.
I think that was when we dropped the old spreadsheet, like decimal format. Moved
to half scores.
Yeah, exactly. When we moved to just a 10-point scale with half points on it is when I think they also had us doing that.
Yes.
Kind of bullet point.
Yeah.
But that definitely came like a few years into my tenure there.
Yeah, so I was going to say, in your defense, there was always a very well thought out written explanation of what that score and why that score, right?
Well, you hope it was well thought out, but we tried our best.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. This just came up with Mouse PI for Hire like a month ago, right? Like, this is just a regular occurrence at this point.
Apparently, that game made its money back. Did you see that?
Sucks.
Well, good for them. I don't love that game, but I'm glad it worked out for them. Like, this idea that, like, somehow because it didn't review well, like, we're invested in it failing. Like, no. Like, that outside of the big rigs of the world, I don't think I've ever really taken an personal investment in a game I don't like failing,
Yeah. There's the pushback. This is bigger than Mixtape, but the pushback of people being like, people shouldn't. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. And then the kind of weaponizing of reviews in certain places, which can affect sales of games, because if you review bomb or weaponize certain platforms, then that game might not show up somewhere, right? Or it might be harder for that game to break through the noise. But then that doesn't mean you can't be critical of a game, right?
Totally.
So like those two back and forth push and pulls are leading nowhere good, I think.
No, but that's look, everything's getting more intense. Every opinion, every thought is just getting much more entrenched and intense. And I think this game is getting the fucking piranha devouring that it is by the discourse, mostly because I think it's the Xbox Games with Gold like spring game. Like it's on the service, so like more people have access to it for free basically than they would otherwise. But at the same time, I'm just like it's such a minor confection to get this up in arms about one way or the other, for that matter. It's a fun little diversion. I don't think it's that great, but I also don't find anything really that offensive about it.
Put it on the box.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
That's Mixtape. I still want to check it out. It's also, I think, like you said, and I've heard other people say,
like 3 or 4 hours long,
relatively short. All right, let's take a break there. We'll tell you, hey, cool it down, okay?
Yeah, let's take the temperature down here a little bit, all right?
Let's relax a little bit, and we'll come back. We'll talk about some other games right after this break. This week's show is brought to you by Quince. Alex Navarro.
Yes.
You know me, I have very strict fashion rules.
Tell us what they are.
One rule. I need to look good. I need to look good. Okay.
I think everyone has that rule usually, but okay, sure. Yes,
everybody's
it's
rule
good to have standards.
Is Vinny needs to look good. And I'm glad Quince got the rule book. Quince has all the wardrobe staples for spring. 100% linen shorts and shirts from $34. Lightweight, breathable, and comfortable, but still look put together. And that's what I need. And clean. 100% Pima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Aw, you know what? I do like a soft cotton shirt.
Love to be hugged by cotton.
Look, I've had Quince before, and their stuff is actually surprisingly affordable. But when I ordered it, my wife immediately took the package. I was like, no, this is my package.
No, it's not.
And I said, this is for me, not for you. And she was like, wait, Quince? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, good for you.
I'm wearing Quince right now. I'm wearing Quince underwear I got.
And you look very comfortable.
I mean, I could show it to you if you want.
Yep. No. Oh, okay, there it is. Their pants also hit that same balance, relaxed and comfortable, but still polished enough to wear pretty much anywhere. Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're getting premium materials without the markup. How can you get in on this, Quince? How can you get your underwear like Alex Navarro, Quince style? You can refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use by heading to quince.com/Nextlander for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Nextlander for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Nextlander. Thanks, Quince. All right, we're back. And another nostalgia hit-ish here. Not quite how it was, but maybe how somebody remembers it. Forbidden Solitaire, Brad. You finished it up?
This game is objectively correct. And excellent. The Forbidden Solitaire is phenomenal. It is much better than I expected it was going to be.
Great. So you finished it and it all wraps up well?
Yes, it's a little bit longer than I expected it to be.
Okay.
I played that game for 4 hours straight yesterday, which I don't do anymore, and really never did. I really have almost never, with very specific exceptions, never really enjoyed playing one game for hours and hours without moving. Definitely much more of a couple hours here and there, get up and move around, do something else for a little bit, come back to it.
So for those listening, let me ask you this before we go too far in here. You could probably get your thoughts out without spoiling anything, right? People can listen to this.
Yes. Okay. I don't think there's anything this game does that is wildly unexpected or out of the norm for this kind of haunted computer, haunted software kind of thing.
Sure.
No. But it is a really effective, potent one of these.
But the way go ahead. But I mean, the way they execute on that toward the end, I think is just exceptionally well done.
I kind of just want to get your general top of the review or bottom of the review paragraph here of since we're talking about reviews. Does it maintain its premise all the way through? Is the solitaire playing?
Yes, I think that they do. So that's probably what really drove me through it, is just the solitaire is really good.
Yes. Okay.
The card game, I think we talked about it last week. There's both puzzle and combat. There's a bunch of puzzle where you're going back and forth and you and your opponent have health. And you're doing combat moves to chip away at their health and block their attacks and blah, blah, blah. And then there's just the more standard solitaire. You just got to clear the board. You got to get every card off the board to win. Both of those things just keep getting more and more interesting as you go. There's just so much more variety to all the enemy types and attacks throughout basically all the way through the end of the game.
That's cool to hear. So they keep changing it up.
A ton of depth in the card playing. You're getting upgrades constantly all the way through. At a certain point, I just was having a lot of fun playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then I talked to some people on the Discord about this who were because this is Gray Alien Games, who's made Regency Solitaire and was it Shadowhand is the other big one, right?
And Ancient Enemy is the third one, I think.
And some people in the Discord were I think Regency Solitaire is better than this from the card game perspective. And I'm yeah, but if I go look at Regency Solitaire, that game doesn't look like The Seventh Guest or Myst. You know what I mean?
No, it looks like Jane Austen shit, which, I mean, I actually think it's really good at doing that Jane Austen shit, but fine. It's different.
That's fine, but this is like hitting a very specific vibe very well. Like, I actually went and looked on the Patreon of the developer after I beat the game yesterday, and they have like a pretty long post about their process for nailing the look of those games. And like, they get into like quite a bit of detail about like what those games did and didn't do with their CG.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how they replicated that in Unity and like on and on. I mean, like they put a lot of work into making this look like those, but like it visually, like it really goes places. Like they do a lot with the premise, or not the premise, like the tools they have, like the constraints they are placing on themselves.
Yeah.
I kind of came around actually on. It's basically all still images, and last week I was like, I wish there was more like kind of animated interstitials between stuff and more to interact with in the environment, but like. They actually do start getting into a little bit of a theater of the mind thing, I feel like, where there is so little it's just still images, there's so little to look at, that you kind of, your brain has to start filling in gaps in a way that actually felt like, oh, I'm kind of like engaging my imagination again. Like, that's fun. Yeah. This feels like, this reminds me of, I don't know, Choose Your Own Adventure or whatever, you know, name a thing from your childhood, like some kind of adventure fiction or whatever.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Like that, like I was just like, oh, I actually kind of appreciate that this is a little more limited, and I'm like kind of having to really look at what's there. Also, there's some really amazing designs, like some really stupid ideas for enemies and stuff, and the way they render that with the really primitive CG is just excellent.
So without getting too into the weeds or the details, does the meta of the whole thing hold up?
Yeah, I think it comes together pretty well. Like I said, there's nothing like wildly unpredictable there. There's a couple little twists that are interesting, and they it's hard to talk about without just saying what happens.
But you were satisfied with where it wound up?
Yes. Again, there's like what you've seen so far, if you played the first hour or two, like there's just more of that for the most part. Like, it's not like
more FMV.
Yes, definitely more FMV. This game has one of, if not the best, fake video game, like TV commercials for a video game I've ever seen. Like, it's just edited and narrated so well. It is like pitch perfect for a 90s TV commercial for a game. There's one photo of Oliver Nelson in this that is very funny because he's like the evil game developer. In this, or sort of, whatever, I won't get into it, but he was a fantasy author before he became a game developer in this fiction, and their like dust jacket author photo from his fantasy books is really funny.
Oh, so you got to that part? I think I talked about it last week, so I'll just mention it here again. The part that really cracked me up with the person doing the job interview, and he's like, I just want to make magic. Yes, magic.
Yeah. They do some stuff with that's pretty interesting. And like some of the occult stuff actually gets pretty interesting. Again, none of it is like super wildly unexpected, but the last like hour of the game, I feel like really comes together both in game, like in Forbidden Solitaire, the fictional game you're playing, and in the layer,
the meta narrative
above that between you and the fake game. Like, again, without just saying some of the tricks they do, it's kind of hard to characterize that, but you can imagine, like, in a thing with haunted source code, like some of the weird computer glitchy shit they might get up to in a way that I found really.
I mean, they say very early on, there's glitchy stuff, right?
It's really, really well executed, I think.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but when I was playing through. I haven't finished it, but as I was playing through it, you do get upgrades and you spend some money. And then when I died, I honestly thought, and this would be kind of an anachronism for the time-ish. I mean, there are some games like this, obviously. Rogue was this. I thought it was going to be run-based. I thought I was going to have to start from the beginning again, lose all my upgrades. But it's very forgiving, and you kind of just start over from a battle. Did you ever find it difficult, or that you did? Okay,
it gets hard later.
It does. Okay,
yeah, and like I agree with some of the criticisms. Like there were a couple 3 bosses where it really did feel like I just failed 2 or 3 times until I got a really good run of cards.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right. But
there's
also
a certain amount of chance in there, you know.
At the same time, like there's an undo in there for a reason, because it is possible to miss moves you should have made.
Yeah, and they tell you,
and also, like, I mean, I kind of touched on this, but like, there's a ton of jokers. There are like a bajillion special ability cards later on in the game. And you know, the hand with the jewels that gets inserted is nothing but jewels by the end of that game, because you're buying so random, many. No, it's all. Not only is it all fixed. I doubt this is the case, but 2, if not 3 different times when they would offer like 2 new upgrades, I would have exactly the amount of money to buy both of them.
Oh, okay.
And it almost made me wonder if that was actually being adjusted to make sure you could pick up all the upgrades as you went.
So there's really no reason not to buy something when you see it.
Not real. Well, you start getting single-use, like expendable items in that shop later, and you may have seen 1 or 2 of those already. Those are. I never really bought those because I wanted to make sure I always had enough for the permanent upgrades, which are very meaningful.
Do you think you limit what shows up by having something in a temporary slot, or are they 2 different slots?
No, it's totally separate. But anyway, the point I was trying to make is like yes, it does feel like sometimes you just get screwed by the cards you're dealt.
Yeah,
just like life. But
it's like life.
But there again, there's a lot of like creative use of those Joker cards and stuff. So like there is absolutely a skill component to it as well.
Yeah.
I just found it incredibly satisfying to play, and like the aesthetic exercise is just so on point. And the writing and all the acting is quite good across the board generally. Like I just way better than I expected.
I haven't finished it yet, but right now it's probably in the wheelhouse of something that I would call a favorite of this year for me.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is up there for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I might actually play New Game Plus. I don't know, because you get a New Game Plus that unlocks when it's over.
Ooh, dare you? Dare you go back in? I want to finish it up. I can't imagine there's too much longer to go concerning the length. My thing was,
where did you leave off? Like it turned out to be longer than I expected, actually.
I don't know the time count, but it probably wasn't too far past where that like interview scene I just talked about is, where he's the
very first. Yeah, I don't think you're even halfway yet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last thing I fought. But
do you remember which dungeon you're in? Because it's not super clear up front, but that's how they divide the game up. Is there are 4 dungeons?
Oh no,
one for each card suit.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm clocking that yet. So, I just
have time to look at your achievements, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please pull them up. I didn't really understand. Well, I guess I do now that I know that you can fail on a thing and how you fail on a thing, that you just can restart and go over. But I didn't even know they were randomizing the cards. I thought they would be a fixed pattern.
No, they're super random.
Yeah, which I guess is, that's fine. And some replayability in there.
That's how they've always done it with those other Gray Alien games.
Yeah, I dig it. I want to get back in there and play some more.
You're at 2.9 hours. 222. Oh, you've got a lot to go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you've only completed 1 of the 4 dungeons.
Okay.
So you've got a lot.
Good. So I can't play that game for long stretches.
Really?
I start making too many errors. Like I think I wind up doing
you start getting too reflexive. Definitely. And it's like you miss stuff.
Definitely had that problem. But I mean, that's one of the many things you can upgrade is you start getting more undos.
Okay.
You can start getting more deck refreshes, more health, like kind of, and also lots of other more specific abilities and expansions as well.
Yeah, like I do the thing in my head. I wind up having to like say it out loud and be like, okay, looking for a 9 or 7, 9 or 7, 9 or 7. And my brain just starts melting as the card.
It starts getting much more technical. Like you have to start trying to plan your combos in like a hand or 2 in advance, and you start hitting bosses that have like all kinds of shit, like bosses that'll steal a ton of your health in one turn, or like do like huge damage in one turn. Like, and you start getting cards that'll let you interrupt their abilities a turn ahead, and so you have to start planning out your turns in advance to try to set up combos and prevent like bad shit happening to you in a way that's really satisfying.
A little more tactical solitaire.
Yeah, definitely some more tactical, like multi-turn considerations.
It's a fun game, at least from the 2.9 hours I've played of it. I've enjoyed it. I'm glad I actually have a ways to go in it. I think it means there's more FMV in store for me.
Mm-hmm.
Forbidden Solitaire, available now, $15. I wonder if they'll bring this over to other consoles.
I imagine they will.
I
think at least a couple of, like Shadowhand, I think went to consoles at some point. So
okay, yeah, this could be an early PlayStation game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this could have gotten a PlayStation port.
Yeah,
back
or
in
CDI
the day.
Port.
Back in the day.
Yeah. It's Forbidden Solitaire. We
CDI,
have
huh?
CDI.
Wow,
I've got
kids.
I've got the CDI core queued up on my Mister. I've not actually like launched a game. I've got some issue to solve with it that's not working right now. But like I'm poised to really go deep on the CDI at some point in the near future.
I think I have only ever actually seen a CDI in real life once, maybe twice.
Yeah, I saw one once in a retail, like a department store in the next town over. We went one time and they had a demo unit set up, and I was like, holy shit.
CDI or 3DO? What do you think was the...
I think the 3DO probably did better, if you're asking.
What was more expensive?
Well, 3DO was famously $700 in 1992, so that's almost certainly... I don't know
I
what
thought the CDI was like almost equivalent.
I don't know what the CDI cost when it came out.
I also feel like I never saw a CDI, but knew someone who had a 3DO.
Oh my God. Initially priced at $1,000.
Well, that's why we don't talk about the CDI that much.
They're both weird. Sorry to derail this. They're both weird. Fine. They're both weird, but the CDI even more so in the sense that they were kind of like standards where multiple models were made. Like, 3DO, that was the like Trip Hawkins' whole idea for the 3DO was, hey, this is a standard that we're going to license to any manufacturer that wants to make one. So like the launch FZ1 3DO was Panasonic. Like that's the big famous one. But then Gold Star came along and made a cheaper 3DO that I think might have actually sold better. I think those are the only two.
I don't think I quite knew that.
That was his idea. His idea was basically this is going to be the VCR of video games. Like we're going to define the spec, and then every company can make their own version of our console, and there will be a marketplace. They'll competing hardware, but they all play the same games. And CDI is kind of the same way. Although
Phillips,
Phillips was the company. Every CDI model might be made by Phillips, though. I'm not actually sure.
I think so. I don't think I ever saw a CDI that did not have the Phillips branding on it.
I could be wrong. I actually, there may not be non-Phillips CDI, but there are a lot of different models of CDI. The other thing, we can move on soon, but we'll probably get into this at some point when I get that core working, is that I did not realize how much the CDI was used as like a business and educational tool in Europe. Yes. And to an extent here, but especially in Europe, there are hundreds of what are like basically mostly video CDs of like educational shit and like BMW product manuals and like
encyclopedias and shit like that.
Business leadership, secrets of success, and just like on and on. Great artworks of Europe, kind of like it's just there's so much like FMV stuff for that thing.
And then, this is we'll move on in a second, but just to close the loop on this, it was Philips CDI, and it was the 3DO, and then it was Sony and Nintendo for their disc-based system.
Their attempted version of a Sony Nintendo console, yes.
And then they were going to go with Philips?
Oh, you mean the dust up, like the pivotal, the fateful turn of history?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Sony was... I started to say contracted. I don't know if they had actually signed documents or not, but like Sony was in some loose agreement with Nintendo to make a CD-ROM add-on for the SNES, in competition with I think the Sega CD was out at that point or was about to be out. And then I forget the specifics, but Nintendo basically kind of screwed Sony over and like behind their back went and made a deal with, I think it was Philips instead.
Okay. I'm just trying to think about where the CD-based stuff was all happening.
Yeah. So then, like, famously in a fit of pique, Sony was like, well, fuck you. We'll just make our own CD-based console then.
Yeah. That'll never work.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of slightly FMV-ish adjacent segues.
Oh, dude. Sorry, real fast. I shouldn't hear. Let's just turn this into a retro shit podcast.
Why not?
Okay. Retro shit.
Let's remember some stuff.
Did you see this 8-hour YouTube video that just went up on, I'm pretty sure it is
digital FMV one?
Digital Pictures. Yes.
I did. I did not watch the entire thing.
I skimmed through the beginning because I need to set some real time aside for this.
It was a commitment. Yeah.
There is an 8-hour history of digital pictures that has just gone up on YouTube this week that looks like it is real fucking deep. Yeah. I don't know where they got some of this material, but it starts with video footage of a meeting between the digital pictures people or who would become those people. This might have been before they founded the company, and Bill Gates. It's like a pitch meeting to Bill Gates with them like trying to sell him some like VHS based video game technology. Like it's There's some shit in here. There's some like real high quality footage from Night Trap in here of like Dana Plato and all this stuff. Anyway,
it's like a multi-viewing thing.
Yes, absolutely.
That is a commitment. That is maybe a thing that I need to figure out a better way to consume.
Or you watch it piecemeal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like over the course of like maybe put it on a TV over the course of a couple of nights and watch it. All right. Directive 8020. We've just started playing this. I think we're going to play it on stream for a little bit here with Abby.
The latest Dark Pictures game, ... question mark?
Yeah, shout out to Lexi Letty, friend of the show, for letting me know. I guess that is still a Dark Pictures game. They just really...
They say it at the front.
Okay. Oh, in the game they do.
Like, there's a menu like in the initial boot up that's just like a Dark Pictures game, but then it never shows up on any of the logo stuff beyond that. I think
they just really de-emphasized it in the branding in a way that I jumped to some conclusions about. But
yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this all shook out, but there was Bandai was involved with some of the publishing on the other ones, and then
this game got delayed.
Supermassive,
too.
Yeah, this game's been delayed quite a bit.
Team changes and the whatnot, but Directive 8020 is out now, and it is a dark picture. What's it called? A Dark Pictures like. It is very much in the vein of this. Yeah, it's a super massive game that takes place on a spaceship, and it is a cosmic horror type of game. Not so far what we've played, which is only about 2 hours in. A little slow to get off the jump here. I think they tried to kickstart it in the beginning with a little rock'em sock'em, like, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. But then it kind of pumps the brakes and slows down quite a bit as you're introduced to the rest of the crew, and they do some time skips.
Yeah.
But aside from some choices that we don't know how they will play out in the future because we're not exactly sure yet, nothing seems that pivotal quite yet. And it has been gameplay sequence wise more than a few stealth parts.
Yes.
Which are never my favorite parts of it. I don't know who really loves a hide from the monster portion of a game. Some people might really love it. I don't mind them here and there, but it seems like that has been the kind of core gameplay loop for when the action starts, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe a couple of button mashes here and there, but then some stealth stuff. I love supermassive games. Like I will probably really enjoy this game. I just love campy, takes on genre movies and series and TV.
Well, that's the thing that I so far I'm not getting a ton of in this. And granted, they're going for a slightly different tone than something like, what was the summer camp one?
The Quarry.
The Quarry, yeah.
The Quarry, yeah. Like, space horror can be very campy, but a lot of the stuff that they seem to be referencing, which is sort of like, The Thing and Event Horizon and I don't know, Pandorum, like stuff of that nature, is a little bit more nasty than campy. And so right now, a lot of what you see in the beginning of the game is kind of plays it pretty straight. Like the characters aren't really that outsized. There isn't a lot of big personality or bickering among them. And like the game opens with a sequence, and this is a minor spoiler but it is in the first hour of the game. So I'm just giving everyone the warning now if they want to skip ahead from this part. The opening hour of the game is two characters that are not the main protagonists. It is two characters that you wake up from the cryosleep and you're trying to find out what happened to them and why, one of them seems to have gone a little weird. Without getting into more detail than that. But
they're the sleep technicians who are supposed to watch over everyone.
And part of the problem is this is your opening salvo, and you have put the two least interesting characters, at least that I've met so far in this game, as your intro. Like, the guy is an Irish actor trying to do a Canadian accent, and it's not working. And the girl is not really that interesting. Like, she seems nice enough, but then stuff goes askew, and you never really get a good sense of who she is.
Yeah, look, I guess I get kind of like, again, genre-wise, what you're doing, right? You're doing the stakes are very high within the first hour, and then we're going to slow down. And
then we're going to take you back.
Yeah,
but then they're also jumping ahead in time for little interstitial bits, which I don't know how often they're going to pull that, but I hope it's not that often because They literally throw you into a scene with two characters you've never met before. It's a stealth sequence, and then it's like, anyway, like 22 hours earlier than that, let's go back to the main story. And it's like,
I found that that pacing to be an odd choice. We'll see how that all winds up tying together. Yeah,
it's just a little off-putting out of the gate.
And these games have done some interesting things, and I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt when they decide or how they structure their choices matter, right? So you could have an interesting thing I could see, and this is what I was thinking about, the time skips. You skip ahead, you do something, but that actually is now going to be reflected back in time as you're playing, right? Like you're going to make some choice in the future that's like, oh no, this thing wasn't there or wasn't, and that somehow ties back into the past, and it'll all loop back around. I think that could be an interesting way to implement some of those things. This game does have, I think, Brad, you mentioned this because you had played some of this before, that it does have the timeline and you can go back in time, rewind.
Yeah,
and
the
make
pivotal
choices.
choices you can redo if you want.
Yeah. Have you guys hit one of those yet?
We have. We did not rewind or do anything, but they do just show straight up timeline, branching timeline.
Do they tell you like as you're making the decision or directly after, like, hey, hit X to redo that, or is it something you have to go digging in the menus to find?
They do tell you, they say a choice has been made or something similar.
Yeah, usually
to
there's
that.
some sort of highlight.
Yeah,
okay, but they're not super in your face about the opportunity to redo it. Is what I mean.
It's a little. It's not quite it's not quite, hey, you should rewind this, but there is like a choice has been made. Something like a marker has been put down there. But I do like that they put a timeline there. You can opt to just not use that and go in what I would call Iron Man mode. I don't know what they're calling it. I forget what they're calling it, but it does seem like you just restrict yourself from being able to rewind and commit to your choices. So I think it looks pretty good. The only problem I have had so far with this game, and it's not even a problem, and I'm willing to goof it off, as you could see on the stream, is the commander of the ship. We all know this is a space horror thing. The commander of the ship is not on board with this being a space horror thing, and it's just making the worst choice. There's one character who is clearly on board with this is a space horror problem. Yeah. And is like, hey, these people are really acting weird. We should go check them out. And the commander's like, come on. Just give them some slack. We're been on a spaceship, and the other characters
it kind of beggars belief past a certain point. Like this, how did you rise to the rank of captain? Because you are the most incurious motherfucker I have maybe ever experienced in one of these.
Isn't that literally the stock and trade of the entire horror genre, though?
Well, yeah, yes.
So that's what I mean. Usually, you don't get as quite clear a contrast with another character being like, I really think this other character might have something wrong with them.
But Captain, okay. I think we're in a horror movie. That doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah,
right.
But okay, contrast it with something that is definitely a touchstone for this game, which is Event Horizon. Larry Fishburne's captain in that is stern. He is very about the mission. He just wants to get the shit done, and is not necessarily super open to the weird supernatural stuff that's happening initially. But then, like, when his crew is emphatic about it, and they're like, look, this is what what happened to us. Even if he doesn't believe all the details right away, he's listening to his crew. He's like, these people don't usually freak out like this. There's something here. Like, he's getting the sense of it, and then he starts to experience it himself. This guy seems like he is actively fighting against his own crew telling him something's weird. And I think that's just like, that is a very deliberate story choice just to kind of make this situation obstinate in a way that prevents you from figuring out what's going on until later.
And it's a video game. There are some timing things that happen. You have one of your abilities is to have basically a message chat with people,
which I do like. I actually really like that.
But sometimes if you haven't gone into the message chat, it can be behind where something the player has experienced. Right. So the player can have experienced something really fucked up, and then the message chat, you go look back on it, and the next message you send is like, I'm fine. No,
it's like two experiences ago, basically.
Okay, the weirdest pull me out of this game thing so far that I laughed at is the commander of the ship does I'm going to put my two fingers to my ear to
this is
talk
so fucking
to people.
Stupid. Oh my God.
But there's never anything even remotely visible in his ear. So it just
and he's not touching his ear. He's touching his like temple.
Like his temple. And it's very much like, he'll just be talking
He's like
to
the great fucking Kreskin. Like he's doing a fucking Carson psychic bit.
Just, maybe they'll explain what it is. Maybe they have mental or
maybe there's a chip in their head that makes them do this stuff. I don't know. But it's just, it's a very weird visual.
It's just funny. Because he is also just kind of, his whole character so far has been a kind of dopey character, the commander of the ship.
Yeah.
Everybody else I actually really like. There's one guy I think you're supposed to hate that we've been introduced to.
He's not even that hateable though.
That smug guy, the jokey. What if I die? What if I die here? What if
he's not that irritating? Is the thing. Like he's a little bit of a chucklehead, but he's not like in your face about it.
So we'll see. It's a supermassive game. We'll see who makes it and who doesn't. We're still pretty early on. I just love these games so much.
Yes.
I just
even the bad ones have their qualities. You know,
I'm just glad they're still making them.
I know.
Like I think that studio has had some layoffs.
Yes, and some difficulties, maybe more than others in a troubling time for making games. But so glad this is out and it's playable. Can't wait to jump into more of it. Let's see. I'm looking through the list here. Oh, I went to go play Call of the Elder Gods. Call of the Elder Gods is out now.
Oh.
And then I launched it, and it said, you played Call of the Sea?
Aha. Like, okay, now I see where this is going.
I said, no.
Do they really get in your face about it?
In the when you start the game, it says, have you played Call of the Sea? Now, I don't know what that means. I launched the game then, and I was like, you start in Call of the Elder Gods, you're like, oh, I recognize this place. I was like, fuck.
Okay. So I don't think I realized Elder Gods is a direct sequel to Sea.
I think it was enough for me to be like, let me go look. People were saying that this is a continuous universe thing.
Okay, interesting. I thought it was kind of a somewhat separate. I mean, that's basically looking at the key art and seeing different characters in the new game and assuming it was a different storyline. But I've always heard really good things about Call of the Sea, and I had always kind of been curious about it.
So I did not look. I'm not here to tell you how much it is or it isn't, because I did not play Call of the Sea. So I put it down and I picked up Call of the Sea. And I was like, I'll go play this. They're not that long. I think it's, 5 hours or something that I saw. And that game is awesome. It is very much a, what would you, it's not quite a Myst-like, but it's very, just go around, puzzle your way through an environment.
Yeah, environmental puzzle game.
Yeah. And, but it's horrible angles. The line that's in it would sum it up, which is like, this isn't man-made, but it's not natural either. That is the very much
it's
the
secret third thing.
That's right. It's whatever that unspeakable third thing could be that would melt a human's mind. But it's not overly. It's definitely not difficult, and it's not overly ridiculous. It's basically a tale of this woman who is searching for a lost expedition that involved her husband on this island, and this island is, whatever structures are on it, these were not made by the native inhabitants, right? And you go on, you match a bunch of symbols to figure out what's been going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I've really enjoyed it. I think I'm getting closer to the end, but I'm not too sure. And then I will jump into Call of the Elder Gods. The weird thing for me is I just don't remember Call of the Sea. Like, I don't remember when it came out.
It was roughly a PS5, Xbox Series X launch game.
Man, I should go back and listen to myself talk about it.
Well, I'm looking at the Steam version came out like 2 weeks after those consoles. I feel like it was on Xbox day one.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like this is a game I would totally have played when it came out. I love these types of games. It's like just a tight little puzzle adventure game. So yeah, Call of the Sea so far very good, fun story. The pace is pretty good, and again, it doesn't take too long to get through any puzzles. I haven't really been stumped too much. I think if you're familiar with this genre of games, I don't think anybody out there is going to struggle too much. I don't know if it has a built-in hint system, but it definitely has a very good built-in journal. So every game, if you're making a puzzle game, every game should allow you to bring up the in-game journal in the middle of a puzzle. That should just be table stakes for games, and this game does that. It lets you just reference your notes. It's like when you find the combination for a lock in the game. At this point in game development, just put it up on the screen. I don't need to memorize it. Put it up on the screen when I hit the lock, and let me just type it in. So yeah, Call of the Sea, a lot of fun. Maybe next week I will be talking about Call of the Elder Gods. But it's $20. It was Call of the Elder Gods is $20. I think Call of the Sea is still $20, at least on the PlayStation. I don't know if it's discounted other places. I think Call of the Elder Gods is also on Game Pass, but Call of the Sea has left Game Pass, I believe.
Right.
I need to go finish Forbidden Solitaire. I realize I've got the backlog now. It's like it's there.
It'll happen. A lot of games came out. That game really picks up, I will say. Like even just like I said, just kind of story wise, like what was going on in front of me started like firing the imagination in a way that I was like, I really want to see what weird ass thing they come up with next, because there's there's definitely some like weird creepy shit, like body horror type stuff in there.
Those are the best games. I mean, Call of the Sea also has that. It's just, I just want to see what's next. I just want to see what they do next. What I have also been stumbling around in and not necessarily making too much headway in is a little game called Saros.
Yep, same.
How you doing?
Same.
How's Saros?
I'm definitely still playing it. The game's still rad. I think if I hadn't gotten sucked into the solitaire rabbit hole yesterday, I was going to play more of that last night instead. Sounds like we're about in the same place. We're both still in the third biome.
It sounds like maybe we both made the same detour.
Yes. I starting over again from the beginning because I was just like, oh man, I just want like a completely sick build by the time I get to the third area and I can earn all this currency and stuff.
Because you could start cleaning up if you do some runs.
The other, I've gotten, this is like, I don't know, this is a weird place to be. The way that game handles storytelling, I'm starting to worry about missing things, though, if you blow through it too fast, is what I'm trying to say.
I hear what you're saying, because you only see certain logs.
Exactly, like they unlock new dialogue and new like text logs and stuff in your base every time not every time you die, but it seems like every time you get to a new biome, there's like some number of iterations of new story that will unlock back at the base. But the thing that really made me think about this was a friend of the show, Fobwashed, posted on Blue Sky that apparently he had some insane run where he beat biomes 3 through 5 in one run.
Holy cow.
And then he actually said, like, yeah, I think I missed a fair amount of story back at the base by doing it that way. And I was like, I don't want to, like, because I'm actually starting to kind of enjoy the character interactions that are unlocking as you go. And so I actually got to the third area on that run from the beginning of the game, and I was like, I am kind of just obliterating everything. And this is only my second time here, and I actually am a little concerned about missing story if I just beat this. So I went back to the base and then had so much money that I just bought everything I hadn't bought on the skill tree up to the point where I could still buy things and still had like 10,000 left over at the end. So now I'm just like super flush with money.
And there's nothing really to spend it on unless you're doing the tree, right? Like the upgrade tree.
Not so far.
Did you put on any modifiers that dropped more Leucinite
is the main upgrade currency. Is there one for dropping more? I don't remember that.
I can't remember.
But there are some modifiers that I have not unlocked yet. I don't know how you unlock those.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think there's one for more Leucinite as of yet.
Okay, I thought I saw one.
Oh, that's on the skill tree. That's one of the things you can unlock on the skill tree is more drops and it hangs around for longer.
And so you had enough of the special upgrade material to get all of the
Halcyon, I believe, the purple stuff. No, there's tons of that I haven't bought yet. I don't have anywhere near enough to buy all those. I don't know if you get enough currency to buy all of those, actually.
You know, they drop. I've had them drop out of, what is it, the red upgrade items. There's like a white, a red, and a gold, right, in the world. The totems. That you break open.
Occasionally, some of them will drop as a choice. There's some of those some of the chests will open into 2 items and you have to pick one.
Yeah. Okay.
And occasionally it's Halcyon, but there's a low fixed amount of Halcyon per biome.
Oh,
like
really?
if you look in the thing, the stats that's like, oh, you found 10 of 17 text logs, 3 of 5 audio logs, and then like 6 of 8 Halcyon. Like there's
just free range, like in the world.
It's a fixed. Well, but what I mean is there's a low cap on how much Halcyon you can get. It doesn't drop forever.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
It won't even come out of chest
There's a limited amount per biome to get, period. So, I just eyeballing the skill tree. I don't know if there's enough Halcyon in the game to get everything, unless the
interesting
something changes toward the end.
Okay, so I thought maybe that was just what you were going to say was that's just like outside of chest, that number for how many are in a biome. But you think it's once you hit that number, it just won't drop anymore?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, I was not being as picky or choosy about what I was saying.
Like once I realized that, I was like, I'm going to be real choosy about what I buy with this.
There's some stuff that gets pretty expensive. Like as you go down, and you're like, okay, this is $1,000 upgrade, or or plus here, but they're pretty good. Those ones that give you like +1 to each attribute. The reason I spent so much time going back and just doing a 1 through 3 run is 1 through 3. I did not beat biome 3, but 1 and 2 basically. Is man, you can really tear through some of that stuff when you're upgraded, and that feels satisfying. Pretty good. Yeah,
and there's plenty of stuff you couldn't get before, like when you get that grappling hook.
Yeah,
like the grappling hook. Even in Area 1, there's grappling hook stuff. In fact, I think there's even like level 2 melee doors in Area 1 that I can't get through.
I still haven't gotten that.
Yeah, so there's reasons to go back to get all the collectibles and stuff.
But that's the only one I haven't seen yet. So I am curious, unless there's some kind of longer jump, but I don't think I've hit a spot that I couldn't get to with the grappling hook or the jump pad. So it makes me wonder how many. I haven't looked up how many biomes there are, but yes, the level 2 barrier door is the only other Metroidvania style thing that I think I've hit that I haven't been able to open yet. So I'm curious if there's like 6 biomes, 5, what other powers they'll give you. That game is fun. Yep. That game is fun, and I am worried about the late game difficulty spike. Once I have upgraded my tree, and if I still find the game punishingly hard, am I going to be like, I don't know if I got it in me? Because right now I feel like I am pushing past the difficult parts by doing the talent tree and basically getting more health, and
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if anything, I see it going the other direction, which is that it's just going to get, I don't want to say easier, but it's going to keep giving you more and more upgrades and increasing your stats and everything. Like you're going to brute force your way to just kind of destroying the game eventually.
I wonder how it's tuned. I've been doing those red gates, or the what are they called?
The nightmare strands are the names of the like optional side areas that are super hard.
Yeah, so I've been doing those as I come across them, and you kind of find them all now that you have the traversal abilities. You can kind of pop in there. And they haven't been, at least in areas 1 and 2, they haven't been so bad. I think I did one in area 3, and it wasn't the worst. They're kind of fun because they're little battle arenas, and you can do them and then pop out. Cool game. I like it a lot. I wonder if this is a game that I'll just be playing for a little bit. Come back to once in a while. But I'm not sure there's too much else this month coming out. I have to look at the release calendar. We just did the Planorama.
The majority of the stuff we've been wanting to play is out now.
Yeah, I know there's some other stuff on the Planorama that we talked about, but I'm trying to find a window here where I can just sit and devour some things on the backlog. Because it was a pretty dense back of April, and I've got a lot of games that aren't necessarily very long. I just need time to go play them. So we will see, but Saros out now, still very good. All right, I think that's going to do it for the games.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We've got some news. There's always news out there, and we've got some. We'll talk about it right after this. And we are back. And if you missed it, there's some news out there. And really,
including news from about 15 minutes after we stopped recording last week's podcast.
Yeah.
Who's a fan of discourse?
Okay, look, all right, look.
Who wants to get into some furry discourse?
So this is great because I watched this live. Okay, we're talking about the Star Fox announcements,
Yes.
which they kind of dropped right after we had, not right after, but pretty close after we
was
finished
very shortly after that, after we finished recording last week. Also,
it was like an hour after we were done, and it was 15 minutes before it started.
I'm kind of way into the. I don't know how often they've done this. I think maybe they've done it a couple times before, but this is like kind of a fairly big thing for them to wait until like. I'm kind of way into this idea of just like, hey, there's a direct coming on right now. By the way, new game. Here you go.
Yeah. So Nintendo basically announced this direct and then just launched right into it. What'd they talk about here, guys?
It's Star Fox, baby, and by it's Star Fox, I mean it is specifically Star Fox 64, but better.
Yeah.
It's prettier.
Yeah,
they made the pretty version of that game now.
Okay, so this is definitely Star Fox 64.
Yes, 100,000%.
With nothing extra in
multiplayer.
it?
There is some multiplayer stuff that I think they have fleshed out around the edges.
Yeah, well, so there was that roughly the same multiplayer in the original.
I think they said they were adding something to this mode, but yes.
That was just 4-player because that was split screen only back in the day, and I think this is 8 players online. So yeah. It will be bigger in the multiplayer, but the single player seems like it's kind of just the single player.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they made some little changes around the edges of the levels, but it seems like these are the rail levels that you remember.
Like that opening scene of flying low over the water, coming up on those canyons is like right out of the original game, and I think the
voice
first line of no, definitely not. Like basically the first line of narration in the presentation is like, oh, the stage layouts are the same, but the graphics have been blah blah blah. Like, so it's like it seems like they're sticking pretty close.
So my problem is I don't know a lot about I played Star Fox on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think I might have rented it or done something on the 64. Are they different games?
Yeah,
yes.
Totally. 100%.
Okay.
So
because I remember that intro flying over the water, freeing from the one.
They are definitely different games.
Okay. They are different games, but like 64 has some DNA from the first one, which in their level designs. Like, there are some things they pull from the original game that end up in 64, just in much bigger and more 3D scale. But otherwise, yes, they are somewhat different.
It's a sequel.
Yeah, and I think you can say the SNES game is so primitive from a 3D graphics standpoint that like 64 was the first time they could like really truly realize what they were trying to do
and give it a personality, really.
Yeah.
So it is not a remake of the Super Nintendo one. 64 is a sequel.
No, it is definitely a different game.
So when I blew up Andros or whatever in the Super Nintendo one, he just comes back?
Yeah,
probably.
Okay.
He's fucking Andros. Of course he does.
Okay. All right. So you guys are really talking about 64, whatever. The big thing here is this is some highly detailed fox skin, baby.
I think it looks rad. I'm way into it.
I'm going to come at this from two angles. I understand why people who liked the Star Fox design from the new Super Mario movie are maybe a little distressed that it doesn't look like that. But they already said all the movie character designs are supposed to be 5 to 10% different than what you see in the video game. So like Mario in that has a 5% different mustache or whatever. Like they are trying
Nintendo
to
edict. Yeah,
that is been the edict. But from what I understand is that the Dimension movie versions have to look slightly different so they can sell different merchandise.
Okay.
Of course. I hadn't thought about it that way.
But that is 100% why they're doing it. So
yeah, totally.
But the other thing is, I get it. These versions are definitely a little harsher looking than that was.
I know, I love that.
But I love it. I think they're actually pretty well rendered here.
Like even before the ire started kicking in, like as soon as I pulled up the footage, I was like, oh man, that's like kind of a severe looking fox. Like that's an interesting direction for this, like, because you just expect Nintendo games, specifically iconic Nintendo characters, to just look cartoony all the time.
Yeah.
So seeing what these characters look like, I was like, man, I'm like kind of into this. Look at that jacket.
They're still kind of cartoony.
Yeah,
like, fucking Peppy still looks like a cartoon rabbit, know?
Yeah, like,
you're right, he kind of does, but he also looks like a Chuck E. Cheese mascot. He also has that.
There's too much fur. It's too real.
I have seen people describe these as very animatronic looking. and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like their eyes should just go side to side, once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the characters looking a certain way in that Mario movie is that's what art direction is.
Yes.
Like, they are of the style of that of the movie they are in. Like, of course. Like, how could it be any other way? Like, the characters in the Mario movie look like characters in the Mario movie. The characters in Smash look like characters in Smash. This game just has a different aesthetic sensibility. Like, this game just has different art design, and like, that's fine. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely hear the argument that the Star Fox fan base is perhaps a bit long suffering. like they have not really known what to do with this franchise for 20 years, and it's not like there are a lot of Star Fox games to choose from. Like, kind of every attempt since Star Fox 64 to do more Star Fox has, well, whatever. I never played Star Fox Adventures. I don't know. I don't get the sense that game is like, I don't think people hate that game. I played
Adventures and I played Assault. I've played all the Star Fox games.
Hang on. Are you like a stealth, like, Star Fox stan?
No.
Stan Fox?
No, I am a Star Fox 64 stan because I do think, genuinely, that is one of the greatest N64 games they ever made.
I agree with you. I owned that game and played a lot of it and thought it was very good, and I'm excited for this remake. So yes, sure.
But I played those other games because I was like, oh, okay, so what is the next escalation from that? Understandably. Even when Namco made Assault, I was like, okay, maybe they have an idea for it. They didn't. Like, those games aren't horrible, but they're not very good. Like, they're just not that interesting, and they don't have the same vigor that 64 has, and that's what makes the fact that they are just remaking 64 again so fucking funny. Yes. It's impossible. They cannot imagine a different, better Star Fox game. It's impossible to make.
I think that's exactly it. They can't figure out what else to do with this franchise, and it's hard to make a new game in that mold these days because people want more than that. But what is more than that? They tried that with Star Fox Adventures, although granted that game had a bizarre development history because that was really just them grafting Star Fox characters onto a completely different game.
Remember Star Fox Zero?
Yes.
For the Wii U?
Vaguely?
No.
Hang on.
Exactly.
I thought
you were not even that long ago, and everyone has forgotten that game.
Yeah, I actually can't even really tell you what that game is.
Platinum worked on it.
Oh, right. Okay, wow. God, yes. I have completely forgotten the existence. Oh, right. It was a rail shooter.
Yeah.
And there was like Star Fox Command, right? Which was like kind of a weird, somewhat of a strategy game, right?
I barely even remember that one, to be honest with you.
Like, didn't Star Fox Command have like weird touchscreen? That was a DS game.
That was the DS game, and there was also a 3DS remake of 64, wasn't there?
That's the other remake of 64, so this is the second remake. Anyway.
Sorry, you guys are talking a lot about Star Fox game. For the Star Fox uninitiated, so could we just do a quick rundown? Because there's like 5 games? Like, there's Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah, there's Star Fox 2, which never came out, but did eventually get released on the mini Super Nintendo.
Yeah, the one with the tank.
Yeah, but Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, I remember that being barely functional 3DFX chip, right? Like, that is
it was basically a tech demo.
Oh, not 3DFX. What was it called? What was that chip called?
No, the Super FX chip.
Super FX chip. Right. 2 frames a second. Now, you're telling me Star Fox 64, a very different game, but basically the full realization of Star Fox, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't even call it very different because the primordial ooze of Star Fox 64 is in that Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same format of game. It just looks better and has new content and more
a different story,
more branching paths through
and more character. Just has a lot more character to it.
Yeah. Oh wait, so maybe I'm getting confused. In Super Nintendo Star Fox, when you got to the paths, could you go left or right? Like in an original one?
I can't remember. It's been so long. I should know this, but
which one starts on Corneria?
Star Fox. I think both of them.
They both do,
forget it. All right, Star Fox Assault. What is that?
That is the Namco developed game, I believe, where it was a lot more, there was like more tank stuff, I think, in that one.
Oh, is that the first one where you can transform into the tank?
Were there really 2 GameCube Star Fox games?
Yes, there were.
Man, there have been way more Star Fox games than I remembered, but I feel like that's telling, right?
Yeah.
That they've steadily kept trying to make them, and none of them have really caught the way that 64 did.
That's right. Star Fox Assault has a lot more out-of-the-ship stuff. Like, you are literally running around in a third-person shooter as Star Fox in that one. And it's not a terrible game. It's just not that great.
And so there's also Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube.
What is that?
That is the one that was originally called Dinosaur Planet, which was a completely separate game being made by Rare
Okay.
With a like totally new IP, nothing to do with Star Fox, and halfway through development, or maybe later, they were like, "No, actually, you're gonna make this a Star Fox game now." And so they grafted Star Fox in as the main character, and I believe made the original female main character of that game the love interest.
Yes.
And
it's we took this horror script and then made it a Hellraiser movie because we contractually have to make another one of those right now type stuff.
And that one is almost entirely on foot. I don't know if there's any ship combat in that game.
I can't remember. That is the one I remember the least of all the big ones.
Star Fox Command?
That's the one.
That's the DS one. That's the one I was talking about. Where
it's more
it
of a
is
strategy game.
There is third-person flight, but I believe there's like touchscreen strategy stuff in there as well.
And then is the 3DS Star Fox just a remake of 64?
Yeah. Yes.
A remake or just up-res?
It's just
it's cleaned up, but it is not this, certainly, what they are doing now.
With the very elegant title of Star Fox 64 3D.
Right. Okay, great. And then the one that you mentioned, which was the Platinum one, which was Zero. Is that like the dad or something? Wolf or Star Dad?
James McCloud.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what that is?
I think. I played a little of that game and I hated it, so I stopped playing it.
Okay. Again, we're not Star Fox experts. I am a Star Fox Luddite. I thought the 3D stuff was super cool when I saw it on a Super Nintendo. Like I said, I probably played and beat it on the 64 because, like you guys have mentioned, everybody knows how I feel about the 64. I don't think it's a great console. I'd let that be. Just let it go. But I think Star Fox was, like you said, a very popular game that I probably played on there. And I think that's about it. I think that's it.
I mean, I think those are the high points. Somebody might get mad at this, but those are the high points of Star Fox.
I agree 100%. As someone who loves 64 and has tried all these other ones, let me tell you, it has been a downward slope ever since.
I have played Fox in Smash Brothers, and I have played Falco.
That's the thing.
Falco?
Those characters are probably more popular as Smash characters than they ever were as their own franchise characters now.
So, I am with you guys. When I saw this trailer, I watched this live. I think, Alex, you posted in our Slack, be like, guys, you're not going to believe there's Star Fox thing coming up. And I watched it as I was editing the podcast, being like, oh boy, yeah, that's a good timing. And then as soon as I saw those characters, I was like, wow. People are going to love or hate this.
Yeah.
That was my initial reaction. They are either going to be way on board or there are going to be a lot of angry people. That's my first reaction. My second reaction was just to the parts where, who was doing it? The facial capture?
So that was what I was going to get to.
So ridiculous.
Nintendo. I have seen some conspiracy theorizing that the reason the characters look the way they do is because they may have designed them as the VTuber personality first.
Okay.
And that would not surprise me because you do have to make sure those wireframes work in that chat window before you do anything else.
That seems like a leap to me, but I don't know. I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, so it was just kind of you can use this as one of the Star Fox crew as your avatar in the Nintendo Switch 2 chat window, and it does the kind of VTuber stuff of mimicking some of your facial expressions. Hooray.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're doing that.
Face rig was so ahead of its time.
Yeah, right, exactly. I didn't see a hamburger in there.
I think this looks pretty good. Just graphically, it's like, man, you could not do that on a Switch 1. This looks quite good.
But you really do have to just give it up for them for finding a new way to charge $60 for Star Fox 64.
50. So it's only 50. So is
60 and 50. We know that there is a connection there. They're not that far off from each other now. 70 is the new 60. I'm not going to go.
But I would remind you that Nintendo is the one company so far who has shipped an $80 video game.
True.
Yep.
So by their standards, this is pretty low price. But it again goes to the thing though of I don't think they or anybody else knows what to do with a new Star Fox game. They're just remaking that game.
How is that game the Madness Room, though? How is that the one no one can figure out how to configure correctly to do a new one?
Well, flight combat games with, certain exceptions like Ace Combat, because it's a weird-ass... It's got, their whole strange real fiction thing seems to help propel that game. But, flight combat simulator-type games... or even more arcadey versions of that have just not been in fashion for a long time. They really fell out of popularity, and every time somebody comes back and tries to make one, I feel like it just kind of comes and goes.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't know what to do with new Star Fox either.
Do you think this game exists because people were starting to make indie game versions of Star Fox on Steam? I mean, none of those really have like hit in a huge way, like you said.
Yeah.
But there's enough people who are way into these things that I wonder if someone at Nintendo was just like, well, we have actual Star Fox, so let's just do something with that.
That is possible. Like, that is definitely, because in fact, like we talk about this occasionally, like that kind of fun indie phenomenon of people going like, I'm sick of waiting for them to make another one of my favorite game. I'm just going to go make my own knockoff of it instead. They're doing a lot of that
now, yeah.
But it is pretty telling that when I think of that phenomenon, the Star Fox likes are the first ones that come to mind, because there's quite a few of them, and they are so directly analogous to that game.
It's deeply brazen in a way I respect.
So, yeah, maybe Nintendo was like, yeah, people do seem to still want Star Fox, but oh shit, that means we have to make a new Star Fox. What if we just remake the N64 one again?
Look, everybody loved to fucking dunk on Slippy's voice and talk about how much they wanted to beat Slippy's ass and how it was fucking, fun to bully Slippy and all of that. But the second they changed Slippy's voice, everyone's like, hey, where's my Slippy? That's not my Slippy. You fucking hated that Slippy. They're doing this for you. They killed Slippy so that you could be happy, and this is how you respond.
Be nice to Slippy Toad.
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and check out. I'll have to go play a 64. I'll have to go back and check out Star Fox 64.
Yeah, or you could just wait. I mean, this is out in a month. This is out in a little over 5-6 weeks.
So
it's out soon.
It's out soon. The thing with this that again, initial reaction was just the renderings of these, but the thing that really actually made me crack up, aside from the facial rigging stuff, was at the end, the Star Fox dad guy coming in, and it really, they go, when you're covering up the eyes of somebody and the dad is just wearing a pair of shades, like aviator shades.
He's just got aviators on.
It just looks like a fucking fox sitting in a cockpit with a jacket on now.
I know,
with
rules.
a pair of shades on. Which is really made me laugh because it loses.
That is a fox who went out for cigarettes one day and never came home.
He loses even more of the cartoon nature when the eyes are covered up. So it just looks like somebody like a... It looks like a stuffed fox just sitting in a fucking fighter jet.
It's really something. It's really something.
I think this looks kind of great. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out.
They might have me on this one. We'll see. But I'm just like, it's just so fucking funny that they're remaking that game again.
It is funny, and I swear I'm not trying to be contrarian about this. Like, I think it is a really interesting choice they have made with character designs. Like,
I'm into it.
It's so unlike Nintendo or what I would expect from them. My only real disappointment is I wish they had just maybe made more of it. Like, I wish it'd be cool if they had made like 2 or 3 new planets for this. It was like, it's a remake of the original game, but with 3 extra worlds to tack on because
like we've expanded out a bit.
One playthrough of Star Fox 64 is like an hour or 90 minutes long. Like
is it really?
Yes, 100%. You beat that game in one sitting. But there are multiple routes. Like, that's the whole thing. Is
you go back.
You play through it multiple times because there's whole levels you don't see on one playthrough. So there is more there. But it would have, I mean, it's $50, like, from Nintendo's perspective. They're putting a lot of work into the graphics, I'm sure, in their minds, like, we're giving you plenty for the price, but I really wish it had maybe had, like, a couple of new levels just to make it feel a little bit more fresh.
This is funny to me. I mean, the whole rollout, the way it looks is great. I think, we'll see how it all plays and hits, but they're kind of... Star Fox is one of their franchises, like you guys have talked about a lot here, where they sneak it in once in a while, like when they had that NES Classic, and they're like, hey, we got this secret Star Fox. People are like, okay, sure. And maybe they were like, this'll get him. Don't worry. I know we're working on this Star Fox game. We're gonna start seeing. And then he's in the new Mario movie, and we're like, wow, what a pull. And then this just drops out of nowhere, like on a Wednesday afternoon.
And I mean, the new game had been rumored for a while. Like that it'd been out there. And then when he dropped in the movie, everyone was like, okay, this is clearly happening because they are going to promote a new game or whatever. And it is a poochy ass introduction of that character in that movie. I've seen that clip. I have not seen the whole movie, but boy, do they just jam him in there.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Star Fox. Is it just called Star Fox?
Yep. Now it's just Star Fox.
Show me the Star Fox.
And what's the date on it? Do we have the exact date?
June 25th.
25th. Okay. Soon. Yes, very soon.
Look for it. Soon enough to get the Switch at the current price before.
Oh, brother.
It happens.
So. We talked about this happening. It's been rumored to have been happening. The Switch 2 is getting a price hike from $450 to $500. So this is, people might remember, or if you're confused, the Switch 1 got a price hike, and accessories for the Switch 2 got a price hike. That was back a while ago. I have it in my notes
last fall-ish.
Yeah, and that's when everything went up from like the Switch Lite went from $200 in the States is US currency to $230, and then the Joy-Con 2 went up to like $100. You have like $5 here and there. Now, I don't know if this is, Brad, you probably know this better than I do. Like, how true is it that Nintendo really doesn't take a hit on their console, like makes a profit on their consoles? Where other is that actual?
That's been the word for multiple generations. Is that I don't think anybody sells consoles at a loss anymore. But okay. I think they probably treat hardware sales as more of a profit driver than the other companies do.
Explicitly in this case, Nintendo is saying, look, all the factors we all know about what's going on, hardware costs, shipping costs, inflation. They're saying that they need to increase the price of the Switch 2 to $500 in the US here. But even that's not going to cover the costs. They're saying they hopefully will make money back on software and sales, though they expect it to sell fewer units in the coming year. That's their hope. They're saying they're still not going to break even on this console, even at this price. It's a significant increase. This is over a 10% increase on the cost of the console for something that just launched not that long ago. We obviously saw increases on the PlayStation 5, 2 increases on the PlayStation 5, and we've seen increases on the Xbox. It sucks. I mean, This it's shitty to feel like if I had bought one a month ago, then you would have dodged the price increase, right?
Yeah.
The incredible thing is, according to this Reuters report, I mean, you don't need a Reuters report to know this was a factor. There are more reasons for the costs going up now than there were the last time they raised prices on stuff.
Right. Yes.
Because now the war. Now the increases and lack of availability in crude oil is another item on the list now, along with all the other shit that has been going on for years of reasons things are getting more expensive.
So the price of the Switch 2, just so for the details here, in the US, Europe, and Canada, it's going to go up September 1st. Obviously, various pricing increases in those territories. Like I said, in the US, it's going up to $500. Also, on May 25th, Japan is going to get a hike, including the original Switch. Just so heads up.
Pretty cold comfort, but at least there's a fair amount of lead time before this goes into effect.
Yeah, and they're putting out a bundle. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw there's like some
choose your own game bundle.
Choose your own game bundle seems smart.
Yeah, so they're before that price effect goes out, they're going to have this bundle for $500 where you get to choose which pack-in you get. See if I can bring it up again.
It's Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, or Pokopia, I believe, are the three.
Yeah. So, again, I think this stinks, and then I couldn't tell you exactly how this
stinks.
It stinks in other territories. I know we have a lot of people in Europe. It's going to go up 30 euros. I couldn't tell you honestly what the equivalent of that is in the United States. Who's getting the raw end of the stick on this one?
I think we all are is really the thing.
Yeah, $50 in Canada, because in Canadian dollars that thing's going up to $680, right? So I don't know what earning power is in these different territories versus this. I do know that a 50 or close to 11% increase in the console cost. I looked this up before the show, was like, well, what has the wage increase been in the United States here over the last 2 or 3 years? And it's like 3%, right? Like it is not 10%. Like things are just outpacing earning power for a lot of the public here, and this is a very substantial increase. A $50 increase. I'm sure they don't want
not nothing.
I'm sure they don't want to do it.
No one wants to. I don't think any
I'm
of
sure
these
they want to make money.
Yes, but none of these companies want to raise the prices on their consumers because that means fewer of them are in a position to buy their hardware.
Yeah, and as they made the point in some earnings call or whenever they discussed the possibility of this last time, they were like, hey, we're still in the early critical phase of building Switch 2 install base.
Yeah.
So anything that threatens the rate that people are buying Switch 2s is actually not great for us.
So a $500 Switch coming in the United States September 1st. I wonder what the holiday season will look like in terms of Switch 2 sales. I'll be very curious to see if they are like where they fall with last year. I assume they're available. I haven't actually looked it up, but I assume you could just buy a Switch 2 if you want.
I haven't looked since I bought one, but I'm sure they're just everywhere at this point.
Well, I also mean like since this announcement, you think like scalpers and people have like started scooping them up?
I don't know.
Because I'm not saying anybody should do this, but if you were planning on getting a Switch 2, I really hope people aren't just scooping them up and then selling them up secondhand to be like, well, yeah, good luck getting one for cheaper than mine, you know? All right. Speaking of Nintendo, they have some more people retiring or leaving. I did not know who Takashi Tezuka. Okay. Yeah. Yes. This is not a name I am very familiar with, but it is a roster of games I am extremely familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, this is a name that I certainly knew, but I have a hard time, and I think this is somewhat by design on their part. Hard time keeping track of like Nintendo's big stable of creatives outside of Miyamoto. You know, I mean, Japanese companies were like famously very guarded about letting too much information get out back in the 80s and 90s about who was making their games. Nintendo's still kind of weird about that with not crediting people. But I had to remind myself exactly what he had done. So yes, it is Takashi Tezuka is retiring soon. He is basically as critical to like all the big early Nintendo games as anybody short of Miyamoto. Like starting from original Super Mario Brothers, he was like right in there doing like very major design work and immediately doing directorial work on such games as Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, and Link's Awakening.
It is an incredible list of games to have on your resume.
Yeah, like I didn't look too deeply into it, but I think he was doing a lot of like specific design work on original Super Mario Brothers. He's credited as director on the original Legend of Zelda, but I think like those terms were somewhat fluid and maybe still are. So it like that doesn't mean he was the main guy on the first Zelda, but you know, like if you look at the list, I mean, again, you know, he was a director on Mario 2 and 3, director of Mario World, director of Link to the Past, director of Link's Awakening, which this led me to go rediscover the Iwata Asks article where he talks about how Link's Awakening was inspired by Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is old. I mean, this is from,
I've read this before.
I had not seen it, but
Iwata passed a long time ago, so that makes this extremely old, but it's that old interview series they did with him talking to Nintendo designers, and you know, the upshot is basically like, oh, I wanted the story of Link's Awakening or the setting to feel like Twin Peaks. That went and influenced Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in pretty profound ways. There's some quotes in here that are really... Tezuka-san suggested we make all the characters suspicious types, like in the then popular Twin Peaks.
That's right.
After that, in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, all kinds of suspicious characters appeared. I didn't tell them to do it that way, but personally I did find it considerably appealing. Like, it actually made me think about like a lot of the PCs in those N64 Zelda games are weirdly shifty. A lot of them do have this like smirking, like
I'm kind of quality to them.
I am withholding something from you. I'm holding something over you. You know what I mean? Like there is a vibe that I hadn't considered that they really kind of shed some light on with this.
I mean, I think the thing you can also point to is that David Lynch has had an extremely outsized influence over the Japanese game development scene in particular. I mean, you also count Lost Highway with Silent Hill and, you know, basically Swery's entire career. Like, there's a lot. He did a lot for the Japanese scene.
What's the answer for?
I saw a clip going around from Lost Highway the other day that made me think I really need to see Lost Highway.
I've thought about just doing a few more Lynch movies at some point.
I don't know how many more there even are. I think we've done most of them, but
we actually haven't. There's a bunch we haven't done.
But it was the scene at a party of a phone call.
Oh yeah,
which was like
the Robert Blake, the main Robert Blake scene in that movie.
I was like, that is fucked up in a way that I need to see more of.
It's a really great fucked up movie.
Anyway, I think the other maybe funnier bit of this little Iwata Asks interview is when they're talking about him working with Capcom in the era when Capcom and Flagship were making Zelda games. I don't know if you remember this, but it was and they touch on this. I remember thinking at the time, because we were at GameSpot at this point, or I reviewed all these games actually. I reviewed
the mobile game or the
Game Boy games. Like I reviewed Oracle of Seasons and Ages for Game Boy, and I reviewed Minish Cap for GBA, and those were all Flagship / Capcom games. And I remember at the time thinking, in fact, I read my old Minish Cap review where I said, like, what do you mean Capcom got to make a Zelda game? Apparently they felt the same way, because they touch on that in here. They're like, oh, it was like a really big deal that we let one of our main IPs out of the building like this. But he talks about working with the Capcom people in Osaka, where they basically liken it to sort of jocks versus nerds. They basically are like, they struck me as being real sporty types, laughs, not at all like us. Iwata is like, so it was the after school club of like minds versus the strictly hierarchical athletic types.
Good translation.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that's exactly,
no, it translates. I know what he means.
Yeah, I get it. Anyway, those interviews are fun, but like, I don't know. I think Miyamoto will be there in some capacity for life, probably. But we definitely talk a lot about like people who made some of the most formative video games of all time reaching the ends of their careers now. Yeah, and this guy is as close to Nintendo's big early games as anybody could be.
And just to kind of reiterate, in case it was not completely clear, he is retiring. He is 65, I believe, and will be at the end of this year, or June 26th. And so I think Miyamoto's early 70s, right?
73, I believe.
Okay, and it's just kind of a little bit, right? He's not at the article that we were referring to here, which was reported on by IGN. Mentions this also. Not heavily involved in everything, but still has a presence.
I don't know if it was them or somebody that I was reading about this suggested that Miyamoto is much more hands-on with the movies and theme parks and stuff these days, which I don't know if that's just based on his public appearances.
I mean, that's how they're presenting him, for sure.
Yeah, like that definitely seems like the thing he's out there talking about more these days. I get it. No, he worked with games his whole life. He's probably excited to get to work on other types of stuff.
Well, and to also kind of just oversee how the brand is used elsewhere. That is kind of an important thing that Nintendo didn't do a lot of back in the day, because the times they did do it, it kind of came back to bite them in the ass. Super Mario Brothers movie, I'm looking at you,
And also it's territory they have not explored much, and the potential upside is insane looking at how much the Mario movies have made. So of course they want their best guy charting the course there.
Yeah. Yeah, and blessing it, right? Being like, I endorse this. Well, best of luck in retirement at 65. I hope you enjoy some well-deserved time off.
R&R. Play some Nintendo games. They're pretty good.
Yeah, some of them are all right. I don't know about the Star Fox things.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't think it's going to play.
Alex, I feel like this next one here, I feel like this is not the first time we have gotten the Civ team being like, yeah, I don't think we hit it on this one.
Yeah, I mean, Civ VII did not hit for me either. I'm definitely in that cohort of players that was like, this is not really doing it for me out of the gate. The thing they are talking about here with this update, which is the Test of Time update, which is coming, is the thing that basically makes it optional if you want to change civilizations during the era switches in that game.
Which is not in 7.
Which is not, yeah.
Your Civ evolves into another
Civ
right?
each time an era changes.
Right.
So I didn't really love that stuff, but I don't necessarily think it's the only real problem with that game, and I'm not sure it's the thing that's going to be the cure-all for this, because the bigger thing is that, like, outside of the narrative stuff they kind of tossed in, that kind of gives a little bit more story to what you're doing in your individual games, the actual, like, playing of the game just did not have a lot of dimension to it. Like, it felt like they were getting really hard on the adjacency bonus stuff, and a lot of the environments just started looking very samey in that game compared to how they tend to look in some of the earlier ones. So I'm not sure that this is going to be the thing that fixes Civ 7 and suddenly makes it a runaway success or anything. I kind of feel like a big expansion is probably needed before anyone can really talk about that. But they are doing this, and it's interesting seeing Zelnick get out there, the Take-Two CEO, and being like, yeah, we missed the mark on this one, and that's at least partially my fault. I don't know that this is a game that I feel like you have to fall on a sword for, though. I feel like people are being maybe a little bit melodramatic about it.
Yeah, I mean, is it overstating the case that every Civ kind of goes through this process? Like, I kind of feel like at least the last 2 or 3, it's like new Civ comes out, fan base kind of revolts, lots of updates happen, a big expansion comes along, more design tweaks, and then finally everybody's like, oh, no, Civ 6 rules.
Well, yes and no. That does happen. There is inevitably an expansion that will come along that sort of like changes the dynamic of the game in a way that makes a lot more people happy, and that sort of ends up becoming the de facto version of it. But with 5 and 6, at least, which are the only ones that I have like that kind of like memory purview over, the bigger thing was those games were still pretty good even in their vanilla state, even if people complained about them endlessly. The thing you can always judge these games by on is what is the tail? How long are people spending playing it, and how long after launch and patch updates and things like that are they continuing to spend playing it? And what I've at least gathered from the reporting on this is that Civ 7's problem is that it just hasn't had the engagement that the other ones have had, even out of the gate. And, a lot of the feet stamping is about specifically the era, the Civ changing stuff.
So this is the stuff that you're talking about is one of the core things they're rolling into.
It was the biggest thing. It was the thing they really pointed to, is like, this is the biggest shift we have done in this gameplay style in a while.
Well, I mean, the being able to change, one of the core things they're changing in this big update, this Test of Time update, which is coming out in, I think, May 19th is their release for this. It's going to be free. It'll roll in. There's a lot of other stuff in there that I have not played Civ 7, so I don't know how big a new Triumph system is, or, I don't know how big the Victories rework is going to be for people.
I haven't, honest to God, I have not played enough of 7 to know how meaningful this stuff is, because I have only finished like 2 games of it. It's like it's okay, but it just isn't. It doesn't have the hooks the way that 5 and 6 did for me, and maybe this will fix it. Maybe it won't. I kind of feel like maybe this is not going to do it, and we're probably looking at a Civ 8 before they can kind of like recollect themselves and go big with something different.
It does feel like this is Civ 7 2.0, or at least 1.5. They're touting this as some pretty substantial changes. Not knowing enough about Civ 7, I can't say that this is going to appease the people who are not happy with it.
I'm going to play this update. I'll try it out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because there are things in 7 that I could see myself liking. I just haven't gotten there with it yet. So I'll at least give it this shot and see if it makes a real difference or not.
That's a May 19th, and that's a free update if you own Civ 7. All right, I think that's the news.
Yeah.
That's the news? That's the news.
That's the news.
That's all that happened.
News happens all the time. We're here to catch.
We wish it wouldn't.
Could use some time, just a little bit. All right, that is the news, and that means we are up to the emails. We got a few emails here. How about 1 or 2 emails here, Brad Shoemaker?
All right,
emails
sure.
at podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com. I have another kids concert tonight. I got to go. And this is one of the long ones. You just love
watching children perform music. It's your favorite thing.
This one's like 2.5 hours long. It's a middle school concert. And
you wish it was 5. Obviously,
I wish they just would never stop. Just like the
only 2.5 hours.
I almost said Funderful. Just like the Funderful emails that are sent our way. Brad Shoemaker, read us a Funderful email.
Give me something Funderful.
Mike from Las Vegas writes in about the data collection or telemetry in video games.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on Kerbal Space Program 1 and 2, and I literally knew everything everyone did. Every single thing, anything you did in the game, I had telemetry on. What I couldn't do is easily figure out who was doing something without working with that person directly, but without much effort, I could usually ask someone to do something weird and look for a call home identifying number that matched that thing.
That's very funny.
And once I had it, I could more directly look at the other things someone specific was doing using filters to view them directly.
Gotcha.
This was the most focused telemetry I ever had to view things in any of the games I've worked on. But almost every one of the dozen games I've been involved in has some type of telemetry. And yes, the disclosure is usually tucked away in the end user agreement.
I want to say this has been very much the norm for a while, but I think it really kicked up like last generation is when like companies really got in on the, no, we need to know everything these fucking players are doing.
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion either way. Anonymized data, I think, is fairly important in this space. But it does
I know why you collect it. I get it.
Yeah, but it does sound like, as someone who streams a lot of his game playing, that if you're watching a stream, you could probably then identify that number, that call home number for somebody who is streaming and be like, I guess my question would be, does that number ever change, right? The number associated with the data you're getting from which... It could be a random string, but does that string, like the emailer said, could you filter by that always and have the same user come up, or does that number ever change in the data? Because I feel like it would be less useful if it did change, because you'd maybe want to track over time why this one is crashing, or what somebody's doing over time, or this player is bouncing off. But that is funny to think like, hey, if you're watching me stream a game, you could pretty much see if you cared, which I don't know why you would care to see why. Also, I guess I would be very curious again if those tools that come with those data collection things are bespoke. Do you make them on your own, or are there packages? And is it a console anonymized number, or is it a per game anonymized number? Right? Is Brad's user always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or is it going to be unique per game?
That's an interesting question. If that's been built in at the system level at this point, or if it's still, I would guess it's still per game, per developer. But
yeah, I wonder.
But I would be shocked if there is not middleware out there that helps facilitate this stuff at this point.
Yeah,
in addition to plenty of developers rolling their own.
Yeah, is it your account that's sending it, or is it your hardware that's sending it? Like if there are strings are attached.
Yeah, or some unique hash. There was something else I was going to say about this, and I have lost it from my brain.
They're watching you.
Yep,
the data.
That's the only. I was just going to say like Kerbal is probably an interesting edge case where there are just so many different things you could do in that game, and infinite comment. Like I always sound so highfalutin or feel so highfalutin when I say this, but the possibility space is so large.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much weird physics shit you can, there's only so many things you can do in a Resident Evil game. There's only going to be so much difference in the way people play those games. But Kerbal is just kind of anything goes.
Yeah,
as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned this last time about being the one to take some of that data and make correlations, or like what an interesting role. I wonder in something that has granular data if you could be like in a Resident Evil even like. How many times does this monster cause somebody to jerk the stick left, or are these scares working? If you have that, that's a fun one. Thanks for the insight. Always love a little insight into one of our favorite hobbies, data collection.
Yeah,
Brad's got another one.
Yeah, how many more do we have time for?
I think just one more.
One more. That's going to dictate what I read. Okay, in that case, Gary from Scotland.
Hi, Gary.
I just wanted to say that as someone who worked at Blockbuster Video in the UK, I still enjoyed Retro Rewind. It might be because it was so long ago now that the trauma has receded into the past. I made it more real to my experience by refusing to waive anyone's late fees no matter what excuse they gave me.
Heck yeah.
What was unrealistic was the amount of tapes you can carry. I have not got a big wingspan, but with a straight left arm and cupped hand, I could manage nearly 20 VHS tapes at one time when emptying the returns drop box or restocking shelves, and later significantly more with DVDs. But at least in this game, you don't have management giving you targets for how much popcorn and juice, which is to say soda, you had to sell with each rental.
Oh, man. Upselling on the soda and popcorn?
Yep.
That was a little late game for me. I don't think I ran into too much of the upsell, like
the upselling.
Yeah,
I never worked video rental, but I did work at Electronics Boutique for a while, and I think that was I can't remember how bad the strategy guide era was at that point. Yeah. I think that was a little before the really intense. Like you want to get the strategy guide with it, don't you?
Yeah. Prima says you need that guide. Okay.
yeah. Matt Rory says you need that guide. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember the carousel, or I don't know what you call it, the queue passing through all of the popcorn and stuff in a, I think it was a Blockbuster, and then there was a Hollywood Video, and it's weird the things you become nostalgic for.
Yep.
All right. That is going to do it for our show this week. You can send in your email to podcast@nextlander.com. Just a reminder, if you're worried, concerned, or want to send us something, you can always send it in anonymously. We always love reading some inside stuff. We do read the emails that come in, even if we don't read them on the air sometimes. So if you've got some cool information, don't worry. We're talking about you and passing it along between ourselves and having either a good wow or chuckle off air. So thanks for everybody who sends in a lot of fun stories that aren't meant for broadcast and the ones that are meant for broadcast that we can't get to. That's going to do it. And I would like to remind people that we do, in fact, have a Patreon, which is the number one place you can go to support us. We've been doing this for a while. We'd like to keep doing this for a bit longer here. The possibility space gets a little crowded sometimes, as Nintendo is one to point out. It can be tougher out there. So we appreciate everybody who is able to head over to patreon.com/Nextlander and join up. We have some goodies there for people in different tiers. We have the Ramblecast, we've got the Video Ramblecast, we've got the Never Been a Better Podcast, we've got the Planorama, a bunch of stuff. There's even a voting tier there for some of our Friday streams. Check it out. Alex, the Watchcast, we've hit a new a breakthrough, a new season.
Yes, we have. We are doing a trio of documentaries to round out the month of May. Class Action Park, about Action Park in New Jersey. That is up now. And then we are recording Harlan County, USA this week. And I'm just going to tell you again, this is a wild one.
And you can catch it first over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Nextlander. I mentioned a bunch of different tiers there, but there is only one tier that gets their names read on this here show, and it is the Mysterious Benefactors tier. And I'm going to read those names for you right now, starting with The Good Vibes will continue until morale improves, Alpha Rhythm, OpenAI Delenda Est, David L., Kelly F., Brian Lucier, Skywarp, Jason Grimm, John Hubbard, Thordreen, Evan Cook, Jerry Lee, Deirdre's Idyllic Dream, Pugtato, Pup figured out how to change his name, hashtag Bunny for Work, Jad Rita, Statics, Maybe Today's the Day, It Happens, Brian Murphy, Randy Dulax, Randy Alderson, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It's Me JP, Edward Chick, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese. Those names, you may remember them. You may have them ingrained in your head. Years from now, someone will say, and Tyler Treese, and memories will come flooding back to you. And this is thanks to our mysterious benefactors. And not only do they support us, but they support you in whatever neural connections they are weaving inside your brain. Thanks to everyone who supports us. Patreon.com/Nextlander. Again, couldn't do it without you. Wouldn't do it without you. We just started playing Directive 8020, like we said. We'll probably play that a couple more times with Abby Russell. On Monday, we played Far Far West with Will Smith. That game was kind of cool.
That game's all right.
Man, a lot of video games come out. Mm-hmm. It's fun to have a space to just check them out, even if it's one session or two, you know?
I hadn't. A game came out like 2-ish weeks ago, roughly. I hadn't even heard of it, and it had apparently has kind of blown up on Steam. Like they sold like 500,000 copies in like a week or something. It's actually super popular.
Yeah, it's a great place for me to keep up with the hell is going on in that space a lot in the multiplayer, extraction shooter arena, whatever is going on there. So you can check that out from this week, and then this Friday. We're going to find out who's the real master of Albion. Mm-hmm. Is it Brad Shoemaker? Is
Maybe.
It Brad's glowy hand?
Possibly.
People around. What has Peter Molyneux done this time?
He's made his final God game.
So he says.
We've got to see it.
Got to see it. So join us on Friday for that. But for now, that is the end of the show. Thank you, Alex Navarro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad Shoemaker.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week.